Hosts Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
Beautiful morning, yeah, the sun in my morning bed.
It's Monday, and it's the last day in February 28th, 2022. And you're checking in with Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. I am Gabe Kuhn, producing the program. Go Tigers 247 writer Brian Dacus. Brian, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing well. I just had some of the best lemonade a man can get, Chick-fil-A lemonade, so I'm pretty happy.
Hey, Chick-fil-A, I do like that lemonade.
Good deal.
That's
Good
good
lemonade.
And my partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy. Brett, how are you?
I'm great, big man. Good to see y'all. Happy Monday. Happy
Absolutely.
last day of February.
Yeah.
March
Shortest
Madness, March May. Thank goodness. Coldest month, too. March Madness starts tonight.
Well, yeah, we got
NEC tournament. Fairleigh
wait.
Dickinson versus
Central Connecticut.
Central Connecticut.
Oh,
State.
love me Central
State.
Connecticut.
You do?
I love them.
Is that the play tonight?
Oh, no, I'm not saying they're
Oh,
going to
you'll
win.
give
I
out
just
your
say I like
plays later.
winning them.
You'll give out
I
your
like
plays
watching
later.
them.
We're
Yeah.
counting on
I think I saw where Fairleigh Dickinson hanging on a 4-23 year.
Hey, it could be worse.
I can't imagine Central Connecticut State's much higher than that.
They're not.
They're not.
They're playing the first day of the NEC.
Even if you double those wins up, that's not a good
I want to
record.
say I saw there's maybe 7-17, something. Yeah, it's futile both.
Well, yeah, NEC tournament starting tonight. Everyone's excited for that. But Grizzlies over the weekend get a win over the Bulls on the road. That was a good win. I mean, coming off of that sort of tough, gave up the lead against the Timberwolves to get that win on the road. That was substantial. They're back in action tonight at the Forum versus the Spurs. Tigers get the next win in line against a just down Wichita State team by 24, but they took advantage. There's no question about it. 2 left. Tigers have at USF versus Houston to end the year. They're in the last 4 in, according to Joe Lenardi, but we're going to bring on Shelby Mass from USA Today and BracketWhack.com to see where he has them. He has SMU leaning in and has the Tigers in the first 4.
Yeah, I think Shelby's about the only one out there that we follow. Dave Almond, the bracket guy, has the Tigers in. You mentioned Joe Lenardi. I'm pretty sure Jerry Palm. Of course, Jerry joins Greg and Eli tomorrow, doesn't he? On Tuesdays
I think Wednesdays.
or Wednesdays.
I think Wednesdays. It's tough. Isn't it tough to have SMU out and the Tigers in a way?
It'll all play out. You keep winning, you're probably going to run into them again, if nothing else.
And SMU got smacked by Houston over the weekend.
Now, I do think, now look, 2 wins matters. And like I said last week, if you, Tiger fans, honestly now, if you reversed everything, and you had 2 wins over SMU, and you're close enough, kind of tit for tat in net, and
The Tigers have a little more quad one. Opportunity, and I think they have one more win in the quad one.
yeah. But Memphis did win at Houston, and SMU, their win was at Moody.
Mm-hmm. But SMU's beaten them twice, beating the Tigers at the FedEx Forum and at home.
That's hard to overcome, isn't it?
You would think.
When you're kind of in the same peer group, but it'll all play out.
Yeah. Everybody has games left on the schedule, still some resumes to be built. You play yourself out at this time of the year. Not a lot of people at this point with the amount of games on the schedule playing themselves in unless you're an automatic qualifier at some point.
And it feels like the Tigers and SMU are on a collision course for a third game.
Yeah, I think so too. But in college basketball this weekend, there were upsets all over the place. And Saturday was
great.
Unreal when the top 6 teams in the country, the top 6, all lost. And that caused some shakeups in the top 25 we will discuss later on. As far as our rundown is concerned with our guest, 3:30, bring on DeMichael Cole from the CA to talk some Grizzlies. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports to talk some college basketball. 4:30, I already mentioned it, we're going to bring on Shelby Mass from USA Today and BracketWag.com to talk about the bubble and what that looks like. And then we get out at 5:45 with Taco Bell Crunch Time. AutoZone listener line, you know it, 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at Sports56WHBQ.com. Now, I want to start here because we have plenty of time for college basketball as this day goes on. There's a lot to discuss there. But the MLB lockout, this is the day. Today's the day. Got to get it done by, 8 p.m. tonight? Or we're going to have a delayed season?
Might be later than that, but it feels like it's shootout at the OK Corral, both sides with a lot of bluster. And I still feel good. I think by bedtime tonight, I think we get a deal because I think both will recognize we're getting ready to blow up something really good.
I don't think we'll get a deal done. And we'll see. Maybe it'll get done by the time we get off air today. But the reason
and
I
if we
say
don't,
that,
we're in for the long haul.
the reason I say that is because how much do the owners really care about missing a few games here and there? How much? Because their valuation of their teams is not going to go down. They won't have to necessarily
because the big
pay
value
for
is the stadium,
and
the public finance.
Are they going
for.
to have to pay the check? Or if they do indeed clear this, are they going to have to? They don't have to worry about, or if they don't clear this, they don't have to worry about paying the checks to their players for those games missed. And I think always in these situations, they understand the players stand to lose more. The owners are billionaires, right? Players are multimillionaires, but billionaire versus millionaire. I mean, people, you have to understand that. You have to understand that. And I just don't know how much the owners are willing to get good faith sort of talks done, negotiations done before the day's over.
If we had to, what sport could we name the most owners from? If just off the top of our collective heads, which one could we piece together? I mean, do we really know who owns the Seattle Mariners?
I'd say football, right? NFL.
Yeah, probably.
NFL.
What sport would we know the fewest?
MLS.
I said major sport.
NBA.
What? I'd say baseball, honestly.
Who owns the Padres? I don't know.
Good question. But
All right. Ricketts, Cubs.
well, we clearly know the most owners out of the NFL.
I think so.
I can
Yeah.
name just about everyone, I feel like.
Do we know? Well, we know Michael Jordan owns Charlotte.
Uh-huh.
We know the Bensons own.
Yeah, I'd say
Pelicans.
baseball, actually. I'm going to change my opinion there. I'd say the MLB.
But they operate rather quietly. You know some. They're not as forward as the NFL guys.
And I know Roger Goodell for the NFL is certainly the spokesperson for the owners in a lot of ways.
He works
in
for
most
them.
ways. In the NBA, Adam Silver, I think, works for both sides. Obviously works for the owners a little more, but I think he works for both sides and tries to get things.
I think a great relationship with the Players Association.
And he tries to get things done. I think in the MLB,
there's
just no. I mean, Rob Manfred is not even trying to get on the side.
Not even trying.
Of.
You think he's trying to break the union?
And also, speaking of the ownership thing, are we counting the NHL? Because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know any of it.
That's a great one. Yeah,
if they
NHL.
bit me, it would.
I know the same people that own the Buffalo Bills own the Buffalo Sabres. I don't have a clue who owns Nashville Predators.
I can tell you.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, at gunpoint.
So I'd say NHL, but if we're just going MLB,
who owns the Blues? Bill Laurie owns the Blues, doesn't he?
There it is. Yeah, NHL.
I don't know who owns the Blackhawks.
No.
I don't know who owns the Florida.
Yeah,
Panthers.
I think it's NHL. There's no question about it. But
MLB's a close second.
But we know Jerry Wayne Jones, don't we?
we sure do. We know Arthur Blank.
We know Jimmy Haslam.
We know Robert Kraft. We know
the Allen family that owns
we know
Seahawks.
We know all of them. We know all of them.
We really do. We know
David Tepper.
We know the Bidwells. They've been tightwads for 100 years. The old man shined pennies at night for a hobby. He was so tight.
Yeah, we know all of them.
MLB,
NHL.
We know Washington for all the wrong reasons in the NFL.
Yeah.
Tepper, the new Carolina guy.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? And that's 16 games a year that we know, but also the prominence of that sport.
Yeah. Yeah. So but as far as getting games in and getting this done today for the MLB, I think it's just I listened to Jeff Passan talk about it this morning.
He's very dour. My goodness.
But I think
Jesse Rogers.
But here's the thing about Jeff Passan that I respect about. I respect Jeff Passan for telling it really how he feels and how it is. He's not
selling sunshine.
No, but he's
John
not,
Hyman's selling a little
he's
sunshine.
He's also in a lot of ways. A lot of these reporters at ESPN and otherwise, they sort of do some PR management for some of these leagues. He doesn't do any of that for the MLB. He doesn't do any of that. He tells it how it is. He says Rob Manfred is completely on the owner's side, doesn't really give the players their due. And it's just the truth of the whole situation. And I think he captures it in a good way.
I mean, and today, Manfred in Major League Baseball came in with, I don't know how they're still at the negotiating table when they said, no, it's not going to be a week. It could be a month that we could scrap today. Yeah. And Jameson Town had a great tweet, and it's true. 2 years ago, showed them you can play that 60-game sprint, get all your playoffs in, and make your money.
Again, and how much money for the first month in a baseball season? How much money are they raking in compared to the back part of that to the other months of the season? Probably
a lot of weather-related issues.
You think
school?
You think less? I would think less.
Oh, I would think a lot
less.
Well, it's almost funny in some places, or sad in some places. Opening day, 100% capacity. 45,000.
What about game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5 at home?
The rest of the homestand doesn't equal 45,000.
Exactly. So I just don't know how much money they make in that first month where the owners are going to be really pressed to get this done ASAP. I think the owners are going to be stuck in their ways.
The last year of Old Busch Stadium, or some call it Busch Stadium too, it was Sportsman's Park, Busch Stadium downtown, and now Busch Stadium, the one we all know. I made a point the last year of Old Busch Stadium to not go on opening day. I went to game 2 against the Phillies.
Was it fun?
It was fun.
Was it filled up?
Oh, it was packed.
Yeah. I loved that old stadium with the arches.
I did too. I liked that you could walk all the way around it and see, and you could follow the whole game and walk around the stadium. Mm-hmm. And now you can't, because it's so many of the newer stadiums that look old, they've become a cookie cutter in and of themselves, like the old circular stadiums.
Now there's more. There's a substantial amount more entertainment. There's a bar in left field. There's
bar in right
for
field.
the kids. There's video games in one of these little nooks of the stadium.
You're kind of segregated from kind of the whole stadium because of your ticket. Because if you buy upper deck, they're not letting you down there to walk around and poach a seat. Old Busch Stadium, you could poach. You could buy the upper deck and ease down left field line.
It's harder, but it depends what game. I mean, if you're talking game 157, home game, not many people in there. For a losing team, I don't think the ushers are going to be that serious.
Cardinals don't lose, Gabe. What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about the Cardinals in particular. I'm talking about general.
Yeah.
But Cardinals, they've hung around 500 sometimes.
They have, and I hope we get to talk about it on the field, but I still have a good feeling about the rest of the day. It has been grim most of the day, and I said it would be. It's always darkest before dawn. We might even get a tweet here in the next 20 minutes of they've discontinued negotiations.
I don't see it today.
Sides are at ultimate loggerhead, and then we get one tonight that they're back talking and trying to get something done. And that's what the end, if you get to a successful ending, what it looks like. But this one may not be successful. And as I said in my New Year's prediction, if they don't start on time, we're in for the long haul.
I don't think they'll start on time. That's a lot of ground to make up in one day. And well, at this point, how many hours are we talking about?
Not much. For bedtime.
I mean,
I'm going to the Grizzlies game, so my bedtime will be later tonight.
How much later? When are you in bed usually?
On a non-busy school night?
Yeah. School night.
9:45.
Wow.
There you go. That's pretty good.
But I get up at 5:30, 5:45, 6.
Well, that makes sense.
6:30.
Well, Bryant says wow because he's up at 11 p.m. betting West Coast
Tarleton
Conference.
against.
You're not wrong.
He's
No,
betting
I mean,
Tarleton.
that
He's
is
betting
a true
WAC
statement.
basketball.
Of course, all the time.
Tonight, 11:30, 12.
Yeah. Ain't bad.
It'll make me fussy tomorrow, though.
Just don't be fussy to me.
I won't be fussy.
Get that fuss out to everybody else.
I won't be fussy to you, Gabe. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. 901-362-8833 for any question, any inquiry. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Tigers, right there. 17-9, 11-5 on the year. Beat Wichita State, who I think a lot of people thought Wichita State would be a player in this conference. They have not been a player in this conference by any stretch of the imagination, but Tigers beat them 81-57. Landers Nolly was unreal yesterday. His best game of the year by a long shot. He was knocking down everything he put up, seemingly. Tigers still turned the ball over a whole lot. But as is customary with this team, the past 3 years, Brett, they look like a tournament team at this point in the season.
They do.
But is it too late?
Maybe better now than the last 3 years.
But the question, is it too late? Always comes up. And, again, you got Thursday at USF, then you are at Sunday versus Houston. If you win both of those games, I think you can put yourself solidly in an at-large position as long as you don't completely implode in the AAC tournament. But we'll see what happens. The ball movement was good yesterday. The defensive intensity was good yesterday. The shot making was good yesterday. Can they do that for the last 2 games heading into the AAC tournament?
You brought it up last week. I think we're getting closer to 3 from the AAC. There are a lot of teams out there on the scoreboard watch. The Tiger fans and AAC fans need to keep pulling from against Michigan. Have them just keep losing. Maybe dent it up a little more for Indiana. Mm-hmm. I don't know at this point if Virginia Tech helps the Tigers because the Tigers defeated them, or if you just want them eliminated. I think if you want AAC in, you want Virginia Tech to lose. You want North Carolina to lose.
Indiana's in a pretty good spot right now after beating Minnesota yesterday.
You want the Sun Belt to be one bid and it not be North Texas.
Speaking of which, did you see that Indiana-Minnesota game yesterday?
I did. They almost gave it away.
Yeah, and they were up by, 23 at one point with 6 minutes to go?
They almost pulled what Golden State did pull against Dallas.
Right.
And that was something to see. My top story, John Morant and the show he put on Saturday night in the house that Michael Jordan built in Chicago. 46 points in a breathtaking performance that led SportsCenter and has the collective NBA world tongue wagging. Spectacular. And big win against the Bulls. The Grizzlies tonight at FedEx Forum against our old buddy Pop. That Pop said we didn't even deserve a team when we traded Pau Gasol.
Oh, gosh.
Said we should have our team taken from us.
You know what? And I hate to be this guy. I really do. But is Pop kind of washed in his old age as a coach? You saw what he did with the USA Olympic team. That looked like trash. And I know that's not the same thing, but he's never gotten this Spurs team back going, really. They're solid. They have some good young talent. But right now, if you draw the line, they're outside of the play-in.
Gabriel, are you saying it's easier to coach with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili than without him?
That's what I'm saying. And at this point, I don't know how much longer should he stay around and keep coaching this team that's still trying to rebuild?
He's the oldest coach with the same team. He has seniority league status. I think he was hired in '99 by the Spurs. So he coached in the 20th century.
And at this point, I don't know what he's doing. That team, you always want to say, oh, well, don't count them out. They have Greg Popovich. I'm counting them out. They're not a good team. They have good young talent. It's not coming together.
And he runs very surly, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He really does.
Not top story of the day.
Not top story of the day. Has to do with the MLB. Talked about it. Just open the show. Today is the day. If there's no agreement on the table and they don't agree to anything, looks like we're going to have games canceled, not made up. Checks will be lost by the players. And you heard Brett's an overwhelming yes. He thinks something will get done by the time this day is over. I don't see it.
Pop hired December 10th, 1996.
How about that?
Wow. No, I'm one of the few holdouts of optimistic.
I'm very pessimistic. I've been pessimistic the whole time. That's just sort of where I'm at. And it just makes you question, where the heck is MLB? Where is baseball headed?
Makes you question that if they get a deal. If we get a deal in this big last-second flurry, why didn't we do this a month ago?
Right. In the big question, how much do the owners care about the first month of the season? If that's what's going to be lost, if they don't get something done by today, how much do they care? I'm sure they don't make all that much money.
Do you realize how
the
baseball haters are going to dance on baseball's collective grave?
They've been doing that for years. It's been happening for years, though.
Been telling me baseball was dead for 40 years.
That's been happening, and I've told you my take on this.
But they'll really enjoy it. And for those of us that have defended it, baseball's left us with nothing to defend.
And I know it's a problem when baseball and the MLB, Rob Manfred and the higher-ups are losing the older generation. They're losing people to all of this back-and-forth collective bargaining nonsense that no one actually wants to dive deep into. It's all about money. It's all about the owners keeping their collective billions and trying to cut out a lot of what the players can go get from them.
Do you think we have too many teams? They're not going to contract, but there are teams that don't need to exist.
The Rays, it's frustrating because the Rays are so good and they still can't get people to come out.
Rays, Marlins, Diamondbacks, A's, just with one brush, that should go.
Right. And the A's, I think, in the past have had success. They need a new stadium. They need to get it done quickly. But it's frustrating, too, because, like, the Rays, that's a good team. Year in, year out.
Oh,
good,
what they do.
Good front office, doesn't spend a lot of money, wins 90 ball games a year, yet no one really gives a damn in that city.
Nobody.
So it's just a wait and see right now with the MLB and what will become of the MLB.
My not top story, the Tigers. They put in the work, the requisite work, but it must continue with wins at USF and home next Sunday at FedEx Forum in the season finale. Can you believe how quickly the years go by? Next Sunday afternoon will be the last home game of the year and will end the regular season portion of Coach Hardaway's 4th year. 4 years already under his belt. Tubby only got 2, but 4 years already for Penny Hardaway, and it feels like a play-in or out game is coming in Fort Worth against SMU at the AAC tournament. Nothing is sealed, but it looks really good for the Tigers to snap that ugly NCAA tournament lack of appearance streak. It looks like they're gonna get in, and with a 2-0 week this week and a good run in Fort Worth, they won't be in Dayton. They'll be down there in 9-10, 8-9-10 range.
I like the thought of 2-0 and then a win in the AAC tournament. I think you're certainly in pretty comfortably.
Yeah, comfortable on Selection Sunday.
What about 1-1? What about 1-1?
Well, tell me what you do at Fort Worth.
You win one game and then you play SMU and
you lose third time to SMU and that's the 2 teams. That's easy. But I don't think it's down to those 2.
It's just a interesting conversation.
37
I just
at
don't
larges,
know.
is that right? 36, 37 at larges, 31, 32 automatics.
It's around there, yeah.
That's a lot at larges.
Yes, there is. There's 68 teams.
That's a lot of teams.
It's always a conversation, but
2 nights of games in Dayton.
I really do think losing to Houston, like you did last year in the finale of the season, I think losing to Houston leaves it up to chance again. And I don't know if you want to leave it up to chance. We'll see, though. We'll see. That'll do it for top.
You got to watch those other games.
That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Now, mention the Grizzlies got that win versus the Bulls over the weekend, 116-110. Ja was just sensational. 46 points, did whatever he wanted. Steven Adams also, thinking about all the talk that we had in the offseason about Jonas Valanciunas being a big part of the rebounding and the offense of this team.
Good player.
Steven Adams is a substantially better fit.
Better piece.
For this team. 21 boards, 5 assists. I think he had 4 at halftime. So he was great the other night as well. But they play the Spurs tonight at home. We bring on DeMichael Cole from the CA to talk about that next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts, boots, and more. Frontier continues to add new items in their women's boutique. Flare jeans and pants are in, and Frontier is fully stocked. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops as well, all at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier is your #1 Carhartt store. No one has a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear by Carhartt. Wrangler and area clothing available too. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled and expanded world-famous boots showroom? Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. There are over 1,000 pair of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. Frontier recently added Hey Dude shoes with lots more on the way. As if the selection isn't reason enough, Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores. So when you're ready for your next pair, you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
The spring sales event is rocking and rolling at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Want 43 MPG Highway in these crazy times? We Gossett in 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage $239 a month or $16,715. 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport 27 MPG combined in an SUV $349 a month or $26,010. Plus redesigned 2022 Outlander. We Gossett at $398 a month. Not a lease, you own them. And get our stellar 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months Mirage, NH001-803, MSRP 17465 Sport, NU003361, MSRP 27010, Outlander NZ053093, MSRP 29615. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Grizzlies return to the FedEx Forum tonight to play the Spurs. Greg Popovich, All-Star DeJounte Murray.
First Monday game this calendar year, and remember, down the stretch of 2021, had trouble drawing on Monday night, so we'll see tonight.
Yep, and because of that, our good friend DeMichael Cole could not join us at his normal 5 o'clock slot, so he joins us now from the commercial appeal on the Grizzlies beat.
I'm trying to get to DeMichael on the screen. I did. DeMichael, good Monday afternoon to you.
Hey, DeMichael.
Brett, Gabe, Brian, what's going on, guys? How's everyone doing?
We're doing well. What about that spectacular, sensational, jaw-dropping show Saturday?
Oh man, that was special, wasn't it? That was special, and I think I put a lot of notice into the fact that it was at the United
Me
Center.
too.
And
House of Jordan.
Yeah, I didn't go, but I talked to a couple of, one of the Chicago Tribune writer there and a couple of the other Chicago sports writers, and they were like, man, they were cheering for Ja.
Right.
Like when he made those plays. And, that's not surprising. I mean, when I went to Philly, it was that way. When I went to New York, that way. But in my mind, it was like, they've seen D. Rose do a lot of this. So it's like, ho-hum, another day at the office. And, of course, they've seen MJ. But, that just goes to show, like, what Ja is doing is special. Like, he's gathering, like, the attention of the big markets.
Box
Chicago,
office draw.
Philly, and New York are three of the top 5 biggest markets in the U.S. and they all love him.
And it's a collective gasp on the TV broadcast every time you hear every time he goes to the rack against an opposing team. But honestly, like coming off of that Timberwolves game where he got hurt, they lost that big lead, to the resilience this team showed even early in this sort of second half of the season is pretty substantial.
Yeah, I think they needed that, I think, we had talked about it on here, actually, that since I had joined the beat, they hadn't lost back-to-back games. So that was the first time. And I was really interested to see, like, how will they respond? Because, it very easily could have been 3 when you got to go to Chicago, who was leading the East at the time, and DeRozan was, on one of the greatest streaks we've ever seen, 35 and 50% in 8 straight games. That's unheard of, especially for a guard forward with the type of shots he was taking. But, man, they went in there and jumped out to the big league, and you knew Chicago was going to come back fighting. That's too good. Like Chicago did what a good team was supposed to do, which is get back in the game, and the Grizzlies pulled it off. It was a great performance, but like you said, that goes to show the mental toughness of this team is what's going to really, be a big part of how far they go, and it was there.
DeMichael, that is a great take because, 2's one thing, 3's another. 3, you start having some self-doubt. Well, we were on a good run. It was fun while it was lasted. Maybe the All-Star break, kind of burst the bubble. And then against that quality team in that house, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it on that entire this whole stretch over these next coming years. DeMichael, you're gonna see it up close and personal. The Grizzlies and Ja Morant will be the out-of-town draw, like we went to see Kobe, and we went to see LeBron, and we went to see Allen Iverson, and we went to see Tim Duncan, all those stars we got to see come through Memphis. You're going to see crowds show up to see Ja Morant.
Yeah, and it's slowly starting to happen. All-Star Weekend, for example, just there were Ja jerseys there. And you expected that, but the fact that he's gaining that notoriety, Ja in himself, and then you have Desmond Bain, who's doing what he's doing, and the rest of the players. The Grizzlies are going to be that team, and they're entertaining. The lob, the trash talk, people are enjoying watching them, and it's going to take off, like you said, next couple years.
Mm-hmm. And they still haven't gotten Dillon Brooks back. And I guess my biggest question about Dillon Brooks, how do you think it will be sort of inserting him back into the lineup? Because offensively, there's been a morph with who's getting a bunch of shots. Bain's getting about 15 a game. You have Jaren Jackson putting up double digits a game. Ja, of course, takes double digits a game a lot, takes most of their shots. How do you think Dillon Brooks can fit in? We know he'll fit in defensively. They need a guy like him right this second with the perimeter defense they've been playing. But how do you think it will be sort of getting him back into the flow of the offense with everybody's production stepping up and everybody's opportunities stepping up?
That's going to be the toughest part. That's going to be the toughest part because, have we ever seen Dillon Brooks turn down a shot that he doesn't like?
No.
To this day. So Dillon Brooks is going to get his shot. And quite frankly, they're probably going to need him to get his shots. You have to be nitpicky with how good they've been, and if you be nitpicky, shot creation, the half-court offense, all the problems that they're having, the free throw shooting, are areas where Dillon Brooks can really help. So you want him to get those shots because he can help, those areas where they're really struggling. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, just how that goes, how that works out because. A lot of players have really, ascended lately. Mm-hmm. Desmond Bain, DeAnthony Melton has really, rounded back into form like he was earlier this season. It's really going to be interesting to see, where Dillon Brooks fits in that equation. But the half-court offense in these last couple games, they had a 17-point lead against the Bulls. You had a 15-point lead that was a blown lead against the Timberwolves. And the reason that those games got as close and one of them was a loss is because of the half-court offense. Who is a player who can help Ja more than probably anyone else on the team right now in that area? It's probably Dillon Brooks. So you expect them to get his shots, but you wonder how it's going to affect them in the things that they're really good at, transition, and all of that. But it's a good thing they have 15 or so games which they will have to figure it out, and they're not going to be playing like the top of the Western Conference until April. So there's time there, and I think it'll work itself out. I mean, like Taylor Jenkins said, he's not some new guy that they're going to have to work in.
Yeah, that's right. It's not somebody that they traded for, and they're trying to integrate him into it. I mean, this isn't Justice Winslow a few years ago. But DeMichael, I know it starts first and foremost with Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff. But who would you call for this very, very young team? It might very well in good times be Dylan Brooks. But if there's a locker room sheriff that had to go to Dylan Brooks in private, not in the media, not in public, not embarrassing anybody, and remind him all these shots aren't yours, who would be that player? Who would be the locker room sheriff if it's not Dylan Brooks?
That's a good question. Steven Adams has a voice. Just sitting courtside watching him. He's very active, talking to the guys when they mess up. Even when he's out of the game, he often, he comes up the sideline to talk to guys when they commit fouls, and he's a big voice. I think, Ja, they have a very committee approach, but I think Ja is one who can do that as well. But I would expect it from Steven Adams. He's the oldest guy. He's the more veteran guy. He's the guy who has been there. He has that. He's been to the Western Conference Finals. So he has that going for him. I think he should be that guy. And clearly, just talking to him, he's that guy who's all about winning, no matter who scores the points, who gets the Sports Center highlight and all of that. I expect it from Steven Adams.
Have they, and Brett and I have talked about this several times on the show, have they been sort of playing with fire in a lot of ways when it comes to defensively what they've been doing? I feel like a lot of other teams with the sort of quick, twitchy perimeter players have really gotten after the Grizzlies in a lot of ways.
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I wrote in one of my stories recently. It's the quick twitch / like the agile guys, the guys who can move really quick left to right. Because, you've seen a lot of that. And that's who they're – Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, who should be back by the playoffs. Those are some of the best guys at those things. And you're probably going to play one of them. I think of Devin Booker more in a different light. He doesn't play in that same style. But yeah, those guys are really giving them problems. I mean, it was almost surprising to see Anthony Edwards, have the type of off night that he did in that game. But I mean, we saw D'Angelo Russell, what he did, and I mean, Tyrese Maxey is probably like one of my favorite examples because he had one of his best games of his career, and it was strictly just one move, left to right, and get to the rim, floaters, a lot of that stuff where it was just hard for Grizzlies defenders to stay in front of him. You figured Dylan Brooks is going to help with some of that, but a lot of those great teams, they're going to have multiple options, multiple guys who can do those things. So that's the question defensively. And when you talk about defense with the Grizzlies, you're nitpicking, and you have to because once you play those tight teams and it's 92-92 going into the fourth quarter, it's going to come down to those little itty-bitty things. So, for them, that's what it is. Stopping the ball with those fast, quick, elite guys is, and usually, they cover it up a lot because you have Jaren Jackson behind you. You have Brandon Clark behind you. You have Steven Adams behind you. So sometimes it gets overlooked. But in a weird way, if you pay close enough attention, a lot of times Jaren Jackson is getting 5 blocks because a lot of guys are getting off the dribble. So
right.
There is some legitimacy there.
Yeah, and DeMichael, this week tonight against the Spurs, Thursday night in Boston on the parquet against the famed Celtics, Saturday against Orlando, Sunday in Houston. So I would just say somewhere in all that, a 3-1 week is kind of what they would want, isn't it?
3-1 sounds real good, and especially with the stretch after that. I mean, you're not playing any playoff teams for a while when you get past Boston.
Until Brooklyn.
So, yeah, exactly. So I mean, the Grizzlies have a chance to put their foot on the gas.
They really do.
You know, we saw Golden State really, Golden State blew a big lead the other night. Draymond Green is still, going through all of his recovery stuff. It's now or never. I mean, they really have a chance. I pulled up the next 8 games, and I said, if they dominate this stretch like they're supposed to, like, we expect them to, then, they'll probably pass Golden State. They'll be tied with Golden State or something like that going into March 28th, which is the final time that those two teams will meet. And then you just hold them off. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And in the past week, when we're looking at the Western Conference, the Nuggets could be really scary in here about a month or two.
Man, yeah. That's been the team. A lot of people here, since I've gotten here, I've seen a lot of people focus on Dallas and the Jazz for every reason. Those are really good teams. Like, don't get me wrong, but I've always been one to say, I mean, have we forgot how good the Nuggets were when they had Jamal Murray and Michael Porter? Like, this was a top 2, top 3 seed, like the last 3 years, every time all of those players were healthy. And, I mean, Jokic is at the top of his game right now. And you combine that with Michael Porter and Jamal Murray expected to be back by the playoffs. I mean, it's scary because that's the team the Grizzlies will be playing. Mm-hmm. And, that's like almost like a worst case scenario first round matchup to me.
For anybody,
for anyone, that's a worst exactly for anyone. Because that team healthy is a top 3 seed probably. I mean, they're right in the mix with the Warriors, Suns, and the Jazz and the Grizzlies. Like,
even
right
more
there.
incentive to be the 2 and dodge them.
Right. And that goes back to my original point with holding off the Warriors. That 2 seed, I think, is really important. And so I was looking at the games that those 2 teams have coming up. So we saw the next 7 games for the Grizzlies. They have the Spurs, they have the Celtics, they have the Magic, they have the Rockets, Pelicans, Knicks, OKC. So Boston is the one game that stands out. And if you want to, really dig into it, the Pelicans game is probably going to be interesting. They've been playing really good ball. But if you go to Golden State's next 7 games, they're at Minnesota, then they go to Dallas, then they go to the Lakers, then they go to the Nuggets, then they play the Clippers at home, then they go to Denver, then they play Milwaukee at home. So now or never. I mean,
yeah, they could lose 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, exactly. You would at least like to come out tied with them after those next 7 games. Because if you're tied after those next 7 games, you hold your own, you play them on March 28th, and you take care of business, then boom. I mean, you get that. That 2 seed is really important. Because 6 seeds and up, I mean, they're all pretty much in that same tier when healthy.
And after that game, you only have 5 games left. What's going to be the motivation of Phoenix on Friday, April 1st? Right. They might be in, let's get ready for playoffs. For that matter, Utah's fate could be sealed. They could be trying to get well. Denver could still be going for it to move up a seed line. And then that final weekend, New Orleans and Boston, a lot of motivation for everybody could be a little sketchy.
Yeah, exactly. And interestingly enough, like with Phoenix, I wonder how they're going to play that too, because that could be around the time, possibly, that Chris Paul gets back. So there could be like a ramp-up period for him before the playoffs. So I thought I saw that on the timeline because I was thinking the same thing that you just said as far as, they'll be coasting at that point.
But one thing on the rest front, though, that week of April 11 through 15, that Monday through that Friday, that's going to be play-in tournament time. So 1 through 6 will all be shut down. So you might not have quite the shutdown. I won't say tanking because if you're up there, you're not tanking. But but that reliance on rest may not be as paramount since you're not having that quick flip right into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure, 100%, 100%. I agree. And that with the whole 10 seed thing, that has really changed some things up. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. But yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, a team like the Pelicans, I think in a normal year, the Pelicans will probably be packing it in at this point. I mean, they're 6 games behind the Clippers for the 8th seed, but they're tied. You know, they have the 10th seed right now. So they just beat the Lakers. You know, they just beat the Suns, and they just got C.J. McCollum. So they're feeling good. Like they're feeling. I mean, they're a really good team.
New team,
and we've talked about teams that could be scary in the play-in. That could play. I think the Timberwolves, the way the Grizzlies have played them, that's a good team with a lot of good young talent, and they're hungry. Yeah. I watched the Battle of L.A. on Friday night. I'm not scared at all of Clippers or the Lakers. They're not doing it.
I wouldn't be scared.
And I'm not. And honestly, DeMichael, I don't even know if we're gonna see AD for the rest of the year the way it's going. Honestly,
full shutdown.
That's a good point, because if it keeps looking like this, I mean, what do you have to gain?
Yeah.
What do you have to gain? I mean, it's an interesting, but you know, LeBron he doesn't have as many years left, so you probably think they're gonna go all out. It's not like some top 10 draft pick will be some big part of their rotation next year anyway, probably. So
playing yourself into an 8th seed to play the Suns at full strength in the first round, exerting all that energy. If you're the Lakers, that would be that's tough.
Not even Jenny Buss.
That's tough to sell for me. That's tough, man.
Yeah,
but Michael,
you go
ahead.
all out just to play. A team that was on pace for like 67 wins.
Right.
I mean, good luck.
Have fun.
Appreciate it, man.
DeMichael, thank you. We'll see you downtown tonight.
Yeah, most definitely, guys. See you later.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good one. You can follow him on Twitter at DeMichaelC and follow all of his work at thecommercialappeal.com. We're late for a break. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap up hour number 1 next.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Get in the swing of things. Grab your friends, your clients, your employees, and go enjoy everything you love about Topgolf in a luxury suite. While at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Topgolf Swing Suite is an immersive social experience offering guests a luxury private lounge to enjoy Erling Jensen's extraordinary food and beverage service, all while playing a selection of games in a one-of-a-kind simulation day. Topgolf Swing Suites are great for workoutings, celebrations, or just getting together. It's fun for the whole family. It's fun for golfers and non-golfers alike. They have more than just golf. They have soccer, baseball, zombie dodgeball, football, and more. Located at 5069 Sanderlin, adjacent to the Doubletree East Memphis. Check us out at SwingSuiteMemphis.com or call us at 901-58-SWING. Again, that's 901-58-SWING at Memphis' only Topgolf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Book your suite today.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Hey, Mid-South, the Kia President's Day sales event is in full swing at Gossett Kia on the Pike, and you're going to want to make your move today. Get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and get ready to ride in a 2022 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month. 2022 Kia Soul LX, $219 a month. Both 36-month leases, $27.99 due at signing. Plus 2022 Kia Sorento LX, we Gossett, $308 a month. 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing. So come see Bobby J. He's going to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, NE 456, 841, MSRP 21090, Soul in 78, 23, 215, MSRP 21515, Sorrento NG 104027, MSRP 31460. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, must finance through KMF, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
Looking for a good deal on ammo? Check out Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville. Right now, 223, 9mm, and 12-gauge buckshot are all on sale. 400 rounds of 223 in sealed Spam cans for $199. 50-round boxes of 9mm full metal jacket for $19.99 a box. 12-gauge buckshot, 15 rounds per box, 8 boxes per case, on sale for $125 per case. Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville. On Instagram at TGG_Tennessee and Facebook at Tactical Guns and Gear. Don't forget to tell them Eli sent you.
If you're not regularly going to Central Barbecue, then you are being, I'll say it, un-Memphian.
That's not even a word.
I just made it a word. I'm drunk with power.
No, I think you just might be drunk.
Well, when this runs, that's entirely possible. But right now, I say completely soberly, if you don't eat the best barbecue in Memphis, then you're being un-Memphian.
Seriously, you can't just make up words.
I listen to your show every day. You make up words all the time.
Yeah, but not on purpose. We just get carried away. You're deliberately making one up.
Un-Memphian! Not going to Central Barbecue is like not cheering for the Tigers or the Grizzlies.
Un-Memphian.
See? Now you got it.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling on Sports Time. AutoZone Listener Line, 901-360-8255. Send in your texts, questions, comments, concerns there. Also message us, as some have already, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Sports56 WHBQ on all of those platforms. Now, when we talk about the Western Conference, if the Grizzlies ended their season today, they'd have a first-round series against the Nuggets. And the Nuggets, over the weekend, we learned they're getting Michael Porter Jr. back. And there's a feeling of positivity they will get both Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray back for the playoffs. Brett, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that type of series with all of those pieces versus the Grizzlies in 7 games scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, but I know games 1, 2, 5, and 7 would be at FedEx Forum.
Yes.
That would make me feel a lot better. Even if you had a split of those first 2 games, well, you got to split out there. Win Game 5, probably swing back to Memphis to close out a Game 7. It would go close to the distance, though.
Yeah, and I've cautioned all year with the Grizzlies in a way because I have to see it. I have to see it to believe it when it comes to playoff success.
Sweet test.
And I think that's fair because the Grizzlies have so much depth.
Very fair.
They can do full line changes 5 for 5 and still stay on their game. They're just so deep in a lot of good ways. And in the playoffs, you're playing 8 deep. Most of your, like, Ja Morant's going to play 38 to 40 minutes in those games, right? So
but last year was just a toe in the water.
Yes, and last year you got 1 win. You did it in Game 1. It was fun. Desmond Bain got to talk his trash. It was all good. But this year you're going to be playing with more pressure on you. You're not playing with house money. And against a team like the Nuggets, people talk about their starting lineup, getting Jamal Murray and getting Michael Porter Jr. back in the lineup. Their reserves on that team, if those reserves come in, you're moving Jeff Green to the bench. You're moving Will Barton or Monte Morris to the Will Barton probably still in the starting lineup. But Monte Morris to the bench.
Be just
Monte Morris.
Jeff Green hit a winning shot in the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be
against
something,
the
wouldn't
Grizzlies.
it? That'd be something.
What do we do to deserve it?
Well, we know about Jeff Green's so hot and cold though as a NBA basketball player. He's got all the talent in the world though.
He's played for everybody.
Well, yeah, he's always he has been in his career. He is the best trade deadline sort of piece.
He was Kelly Oubre before it was Kelly Oubre.
Yes, exactly. But their bench is going to get really strong once those guys come back.
They
and
will.
Granted, you're
Seasoned
only playing.
coach.
You're only playing,
and the big fella inside who makes it all go.
Yes, and you're maybe playing 8 deep, but they can move Jeff Green, Monte Morris to the bench, and they get a whole lot out of those guys.
But after this 4 games, not even really counting tonight, more Boston on Thursday. That's kind of the challenging one of this next 4. It's pretty clean sailing for the Grizzlies, like DeMichael said, till the Brooklyn game on the 23rd, Golden State on the 28th. A month from now, the next Monday night game. Tonight, the first Monday night game of the new calendar year, played the afternoon MLK game against Chicago and had a big crowd, but first Monday night game of this calendar year. But, we hit that stretch, had 3 in November, 2 in December that just didn't draw in on Monday night.
Yes, but we're getting to that point in the season where People are
we should be.
for
We sure should.
Just about everything. And I think the crowd's more raucous when it's there. A little more loud. And
I do too.
Engaged in a lot of ways.
And we've got
okay,
superstar to cheer for.
leading into the playoffs. What are a few things or a couple things that the Grizzlies need to absolutely hone in on before they play a 7-game playoff series?
Free throw shooting. I start there. I think it needs to go up a tick or two, and maybe a few more made threes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shooting is something I think they've been improving, and they have improved. I don't know if it's where you want it to be a championship team.
I don't know that you can win many
out.
playoff games strictly on defense. I mean, it's sitting grit and grind, sitting Tony, shutting somebody off. You have to outscore them.
At
kind of
some point,
the old saying, the race to 100 is come playoff time. I think will be kind of the race to 120.
Yes, at some point though, they need a premier defender for a wing player that's twitchy, like we were talking about with.
Won't Dylan Brooks be asked to be that?
He'll be asked to be that guy.
Is
but
he that?
Do you remember him against Donovan Mitchell against the Jazz? He competed his butt off. I'm not trying to say he didn't, but I keep saying this, and I want to see what everybody sort of thinks about this. I think he's more of a pest than a stopper, if that makes sense. He can really bother you, get in your face a whole lot, but I'm not sure that he is a full stopper.
Good saying.
Now, also, the Lakers. You see what happened last night with them?
I did.
What do we say about that? I mean, how do you? They were
booed.
They're
lustily.
horrible, and they should have been. They were horrible. They turned the ball over more times than they made field goals in the first half. They had 23 turnovers.
Russell Westbrook said booing didn't bother him.
He had 1 assist and I believe 8 turnovers last night. So that assist-turnover ratio was not great. Not great. LeBron's still doing his thing, although he's not getting back on defense as much. But to lose to the Pelicans at home in Crypto.com, 123.95. That's not what LeBron signed up for. That's not what any of those guys signed up for this year. It's crazy. It's crazy to see. That'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2, we're going to switch our attention from Grizzlies to college basketball. We start with David Cobb from CBS Sports.
Folks, Bob Burkhammer for the Sunrise Truck Corral. Gonna buy a truck? Sunrise has new trucks, used trucks, big trucks, little trucks, custom trucks, factory trucks, long bed trucks, short bed trucks, regular cab trucks, extended cab trucks, crew cab trucks, 4-cylinder trucks, 6-cylinder trucks, 8-cylinder trucks, 2-wheel drive trucks, 4-wheel drive trucks, all-wheel drive trucks, GMC trucks, Chevy trucks, Ford trucks, Dodge trucks, diesel trucks, SUVs, light-duty trucks, heavy-duty trucks, trucks for rich folks, trucks for poor folks, trucks for young folks, trucks for old folks. Want a truck? Go online to the Sunrise Truck Corral, the old Hummer building in Bartlett.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to have someone else say it. Because for some reason, when a random person talks about how great something is in a commercial, it's more believable.
I saved with a Progressive home and auto bundle.
And there you have it. I mean, I'm not sure why she's more believable than me, but either way, you get the point about the saving. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. There are a lot of ways to ruin your roof. Probably none worse than ice and snow. Google the term ice dam, and you'll understand that standing snow and ice can destroy your home's interior. Call me, 867-0303. Damaged ceilings or interior? It's time to call Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. We're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, so we've been vetted and trained by the best. You've known the name for years. Call me before you call your insurance company. We won't try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. We'll measure your roof from outer space. Call me, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
You're the one everyone looks to for answers. Come rain or shine, the job must get done, and you're the one who makes it happen. We get you, Jackie in Fresno, putting your employee safety first. And Manny in Chattanooga, whose local Granger team knows him by name. We're here for you and all the ones who get it done with 24/7 customer support and access to product specialists to help you find what you need. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Jeff Allen, the Kia President's Day sales event is sure to make all your customers happy at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
We are ready to make you smile. Check it out. 2022 Kia Forte LXS, we got it covered at $199 per month. And a 2022 Kia Soul LX, $219 a month. Both $27.99 due at signing.
Plus 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $308 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. And they all come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
Ask for Jeff Allen, Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com. All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, NE 456, 841, MSRP 21090, Soul N78, 23215, MSRP 21515, Sorrento NG 104027, MSRP 31460. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, must finance through KMF, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour 2 on a Monday, Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. And we started with our good friend from CBS Sports, David Cobb, at David W. Cobb on Twitter. David, how are you, man?
Hey, guys, I'm doing all right.
David, we had a magical weekend in college basketball leading to one of the great times of the year tonight. The NEC tournament starts it all, and tomorrow a lot more conferences get going. And as the week wears on, daytime basketball, next week, morning basketball, it's here.
Oh, yeah. You know, guys, I was really hoping you would ask me about tonight's Central Connecticut State versus.
We want the breakdown.
What's the play?
What's the play? We want the breakdown, David.
Yeah, they're going up against a Fairleigh Dickinson team that ranks number 346 at KenPom.
Well, there's 12 behind them.
Exactly.
They're 4.5-point favorites, David. So are we taking them?
We need a winner.
They split during the regular season, but Fairleigh Dickinson gets the home court advantage.
No, I can't fake it. I did not know that. We may need that Tennessee hotline number though if we're wagering on the NEC tournament tonight. But Saturday was spectacular, and it unfolded over the course of the whole day from 11 o'clock on.
Oh yeah, it was nothing. I mean, you know, they call in college football, they say silly season and they refer to the coaching carousel. The thing I like about college basketball is that silly season is February 20th through whenever they cut down the net. And the silly season happens in the games. And that was very evident on Saturday when we kicked off March a few days early with all six of the top 6 ranked teams in the AP poll losing, 7 of the top 10 losing. And then it continued yesterday with Ohio State going down on the road against a Maryland team that has not been very good. And Ohio State lost by 15 after they had just won at Illinois. So it makes no sense. It really is silly. And it's why this NCAA tournament, and honestly, the next 2 weeks leading up to it, are going to be as good as ever. When you combine the parity at the top with the fact that this is going to be the first normal NCAA tournament or college basketball postseason, think of it, 3 years have passed since the last time we had a normal college basketball postseason with fans and everything being the way it should. So it's going to be great, and Saturday was just the start.
How much did the Vols give you hope that they can make a run in the tournament after beating Auburn? Do you have more hope in what they can do, or does it just show how hard it is to play in Thompson Bowling?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would have hope in Tennessee and hope in Arkansas if they got to host during the NCAA tournament. If this was like the women's tournament where you get a couple of home games out of the gate if you're really good, or like college baseball where you get a regional and a super regional if you're among the top 8. Tennessee would be knocking on the door to try to get a super regional if this were baseball with the way they've been playing as of late. But yes, encouraged, I think, absolutely. The fact that both Tennessee and Arkansas are entering this final week of the season with a chance to split potentially the regular season title is a testament to the fact that they got a lot better as the season went on. So it's hard not to be optimistic about Tennessee and Arkansas with the way they're playing right now. And Kentucky and Auburn have kind of come back to the field a little bit to help them out. Ultimately, the firepower thing kind of gives me a little bit of pause with Tennessee. As we've discussed, they've just shown so many times that it's possible to send them into a total tailspin offensively. And that's been happening less and less frequently for Tennessee, but get them on a neutral floor in an unfamiliar environment where those three-point shooters have a depth perception issue or whatever the excuse is that the good shooting teams always come up with in the postseason. And I do worry about their susceptibility to a terrible offensive night.
And Saturday at TBA and at Bud Walton Arena, a combined 40,000 people, and Auburn recognized as probably the toughest place to play right now in the SEC. Even Alabama on Saturday had, a crowd of 10,000 or so. The SEC is more than just football. I mean, football will always be its calling card, but it has some basketball prowess.
I've got it on the list of stories to do once the NCAA tournament is over, and hopefully none of my colleagues out there for competing outlets are listening to this, but I want to do an in-depth dive to look at how home court advantage worked in this season, because just looking at it without having crunched any numbers, just watching games, looking at the standings, seeing how many teams are undefeated or have just one loss at home, there's no question that the return of packed arenas and the pent-up fervor of some of these fan bases is largely responsible for the success that some teams are having. I think the home court advantage in college basketball this season has been even above and beyond what it was pre-pandemic.
Even caused one fan at the Arkansas game in a Kentucky free throw situation to drop trowel and moon the free throw shooter.
I know.
I mean, Dr. Fauci would be alarmed at the lack of the proper N95 mask on someone dropping trowel.
I'm alarmed as well.
What about his girlfriend standing by him? Or friend?
I would be interested to check their relationship status on Facebook today.
You would hope that you would know he's capable of that before getting into a relationship.
Yeah, if that came as a shocker on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those Arkansas folks, they're a little bit different now, especially when they're having success. And they're having a lot of success right now. Football's on the up and up. Baseball's always up. Basketball's rolling. I mean, that fan base is going to be taking it to another level in 2022.
Look what leadership has done for them. Look what Hunter Yurchek has pulled off. He's been able to bring it all, make a coalition of the big three, football, basketball, and baseball, and the Razorbacks are back.
Yeah, it's impressive, and they're one of the best sleeping giants in the country, really, regardless of sport. I'll never forget, really. So I've been to almost every SEC town. Oddly enough, having grown up in Memphis, Fayetteville is one of the few that I have not been to. And so my experiences with that fan base have been limited. So when I was covering Tennessee, obviously Arkansas came to Knoxville for a few games in various sports, and I saw a small visiting portion of their fan base in those environments. But really the only time I've ever seen the Arkansas fan base in force was at an SEC basketball tournament, on a couple occasions, once in Nashville and once in St. Louis, and blown away both times. In years where they weren't even great, about just the passion and the coordination of the Woo Pig Suey thing.
It's there.
And
it's there.
Man, they're legit.
They just had to get somebody to tap into it, and they had to get Jeff Long out of there, I always said, David, we probably should be nicer about Jeff and a little more understanding, because it was going to be impossible, and he proved for it to be, to fill the shoes of Frank Broyles. It almost was inevitable that the guy after the guy to replace Coach Broyles running that department, and Hunter Yurchek has tapped into it.
Absolutely. I mean, now the key is, can they keep Eric Musselman and Sam Pittman away from the motorcycle? That's going to be the key.
If you believe there was a motorcycle.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on. we don't buy that, do we? And also, I don't think either of those guys, I don't know, obviously, knock on wood, Don't assume
they'll fend off.
I don't think they're motorcycle guys. I don't think they're going
if Arkansas and those boosters and that coterie of big money, if they want to keep those coaches, they'll keep them.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving from Arkansas to the Tigers, Memphis Tigers get another win yesterday. 2 games left. I guess
Wichita State.
I guess my biggest question, David, is do they need to beat Houston to pencil themselves into the tournament?
Yeah, you can write it probably with pen if they beat Houston. You're writing it with pencil if they lose to Houston, because the first 4 in type of standing gets a little bit wishy-washy if that's where you are entering conference tournament week, because so much can happen entering conference tournament week. I think if you beat Houston, you probably take yourself off that first 4 in.
Kind of cruising at Fort Worth.
Right. And barring just an awful week where you lose to a crappy team in your first game in the conference tournament, and then a whole bunch of upsets happen elsewhere where there's bid stealers, I think if you beat Houston, you should be fine unless there's something like that.
Right.
If you lose to Houston, then you're still keeping one eye on the bracketology all week, I think, just because you never know. So that's kind of how I see it. And, of course, that's to say nothing of South Florida, which shouldn't be a problem, but you just never know. As we discussed just a few minutes ago, going on the road in college basketball is not easy. Granted, going on the road and playing South Florida in the Sun Dome is a little bit different than going to Bud Walton Arena or Thompson Bowling Arena right now. I don't think that's going to be a hostile environment, but you just never know.
Just win.
Yeah, exactly. Memphis was great yesterday, though. I mean, it was a very encouraging sign. If you wanted to look at the SMU second half a week earlier and be worried, well, they put that to rest. Now, if you want to look at the way they played against Wichita State and take that to heart and let that be an encouragement to you for where things stand going forward, be my guest. It's just there's still no guarantees with 2 games left in the regular season.
The problem is, even at this point in the season, 8 of 9, you've won 8 of your last 9, even though you had a bad second half against SMU. This is the point in the season, I feel like, with Penny Hardaway, at least the last 3 years, or last 2 years especially, they look like a tournament team, but they've already had those bad losses that at the beginning of the season that they can't overcome.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully the good wins that Memphis picked up are for now negating those losses, because Alabama's resume, as wild as it is still holding up pretty dang well. So the fact that Memphis has a 14-point win over Alabama, awesome. The fact that Murray State, I think at this point, is an at-large team.
24 net.
Yeah, really negates the sting of that loss. And at the time, it was feasible that a home loss to Murray State would be a quad 3 loss, because it's not out of the question for even a upper-tier Ohio Valley Conference team to be low enough in the net to where if you lose to them at home, it really stings. So if Memphis gets in without winning the AAC tournament, they need to write a thank you note to Matt McMahon and Tevin Brown and some of those guys up at Murray, because that Murray State has single-handedly, and you could argue, saved Memphis's resume, because I think when they lost that game, at the moment, I think it was a quad 3 loss, and there wasn't really any reason to think it would become anything other than that. But because Murray's been so good and just finished off an 18-0 run through the OVC, it's standing tall as a quad 1 loss, and there's no shame in quad 1 losses.
David, if it looks like it's easy street, take care of South Florida, beat Houston. I think it'll be upset. I think Tigers will be underdog, but take care of Houston at home. Win on Thursday, whatever happens on Friday. But for sure, if you win on Friday, then you know you're in. Lose on Saturday, come home. What kind of dynamic, what kind of selection Sunday party do you think Penny Hardaway and the program should have? You know, often they would meet over at John Calipari's house, and TV cameras and the media would assemble over there. Josh didn't do that as much. It was more at the building. How would you do it? Because here's what I would do. I'm telling you now what I would do. If I knew I was in, I would open FedEx Forum. We have the selection show party there live when the ESPN cameras, will come to him on all those shows later that Sunday night. Heck, Nance and the CBS Reveal might, for lack of a better term, all the smoke.
Well, I think it would be a sigh of relief, first and foremost, just to be in after, now 4 years into this thing to crack the dance when things looked so bleak just 2 months ago, less than that really, it would be just a sigh of relief for Memphis. And then depending on how things go in Fort Worth, you do have to keep an eye on, are they going to get sent to the first four? Because that's where they are as of today in Jerry Palm's bracketology. If you get sent to the first four, you got to cease the celebration immediately and start watching film. Yeah, exactly. And I think that'll be their mindset even if they aren't in the first four, because quickly, for any fan base with any history or any program with any history, the expectation goes from, okay, you made the big dance, now what? And I don't think Penny is immune to that just because he's Penny. And I think he's smart enough to realize that, okay, making the big dance is one thing, now winning in it is another. And this has been the expectation all along, that they would be in this position, that they would make the NCAA tournament. And if you get there, I would think that he would just say, okay, we're on the right track. Now, you just never know. Maybe he makes a big show of it. But to me, for Memphis, this is what was expected all along. Now let's get to business. We're playing our best basketball this season. So even if we do end up on the 9 or the 10 line, well, who's to say we can't go out and beat a number 2 seed or a number 1 seed in the second round with how well we're playing right now? And if you're going to do that, it's going to require you to get to work right away.
And you brought up your guy, Jerry Palm at CBS Sports. I have been accused the past week of being the AAC propagandist because I think Memphis and SMU can get in. But would you look here? Looks like Jerry Palm has SMU as an 11 seed and has Memphis in the last 4 in. How likely do you think that is to happen, though?
It's fairly likely. The fact that Houston was kind enough to allow SMU and Memphis to beat it over the last few weeks has certainly helped it out the conference as a whole. If you're Mike Oresco, speaking of writing thank you notes, send one to Kelvin Sampson and say, thank you for losing.
Send a bouquet.
Yeah, to Memphis and SMU, so that we could reasonably have a couple more at-large teams. I think it's very reasonable. You look at the bubble this year; it's not all that strong. I mean, you're looking at some teams on the bubble that genuinely I don't think are very good, who I've watched enough this year to say I don't want to see them in the NCAA tournament. Florida, for example, I don't really want to see them. In Michigan, another example, a team that just isn't that fun to watch, isn't very good. North Carolina is so bad defensively. I don't care necessarily to see them in the Big Dance. Loyola Chicago, they keep losing games. I mean, I'm tired of seeing a mid-major.
Been there, done that, Sister Jean. We've done all that.
Exactly. So, I would rather, and I'm not a bracketologist, I'm not on the selection committee, but I would rather see teams that are surging at the right time get in there. So I want to see Rutgers in the Big Dance. They're knocking down. They're on a little bit of a cold streak as of late.
83 net, though.
They've beaten some really good teams, though, in the Big Ten. And so they're going to have a winning record and one of the toughest conferences in America, having notched most of their good wins in February. And there's a good chance they might not get in. And so, I mean, Memphis is similar, same way Memphis was last year. And I think you'd rather see teams that are actually playing well coming down the stretch get in. That's not the way the committee looks at things, though. So I think SMU is in good shape. I think Memphis is in good shape. But obviously, you got to close strong, and we'll see.
David, the last time Penny Hardaway was part of a Memphis Tigers NCAA tournament team, it was when he was a player in '93. His last game as a Tiger, an ugly opening round loss to Western Kentucky and Darryl Mee at his future home in Orlando. That was an ugly way for the Penny Hardaway years to end.
Well, your memory is better than mine because I was probably not quite yet alive at that point.
I was in this studio that day.
Of course you were. Yeah, I was surprised you weren't actually at the game.
Everybody went with me. They left me here.
I was going to say, you would probably have your credential in a box somewhere if you'd been there.
Yeah, and that was a tough way to go out because the year before it was a great tournament run. In '92, it was up in Milwaukee, and they got a first-round win, I think over Murray State, and then played and beat for the second time in about a 30-day span Arkansas, and then beat Georgia Tech before being bounced by Nick Van Exel in Cincinnati and Kansas City, but the two tournaments Penny Hardaway played in, he was sensational in every game.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have star power this time of year, and
it sure is.
Memphis has a handful of guys that can fit the bill on a given night.
And
we know?
Because remember, they're putting on a TV show. You'd much rather have Penny Hardaway out there than the coach at Rutgers.
Steve Peichel, come on, give him some credit, man. No, you're right. But, that's true. I don't think the selection committee is thinking ratings. So, they're going to give North Carolina a benefit of the doubt, probably. I think they're going to give Duke a benefit of the doubt just because they're kind of
in the K story.
Yeah, they also seem entrenched in an old fashioned version of what the ACC is, and it seem to be giving Duke credit for having a good record in a bad conference. But I don't know. I don't know to what extent. I think Rutgers is good TV. That's what March is about as well. Is these
agreed.
These programs that you don't normally see on the national stage getting their chance to shine. I think Steve Peichel at Rutgers is the type of guy that can become a star in March when he will never be a star at any other point in the year. Penny Hardaway can be a star if he chooses to tweet, post on Instagram, whatever, at any point in the year because of who he is. He can be a star. He can wake up and decide to make headlines. Steve Peichel's only chance is in March. That's why March is great. And it'll be great to see Memphis in the dance. But hearing your point about Penny's playing days does raise an interesting question. Obviously he was the star of those teams. Who's the star of this Memphis team? If you're in a close game and they've got all hands on deck in terms of health and stuff, who are you giving them the ball to with the game on the line?
Feed it to number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Chunk it inside.
Yeah. Landers Nolly's probably the best they have at shot creation. Putting one up. But by the way, Steve Peichel's done a lot with a little at Rutgers.
He sure has.
He's done a really good job.
David, you care to guess the last time Georgetown won a basketball game?
Oh,
That's
been a
where I was
long
going
time.
to.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
December 15th against Howard.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake for the former NBA stars who are the head coaches at their alma maters right now.
Mm-hmm.
I pointed this out on Twitter earlier. So of Palm's first 4 in and last 4 out, i.e. the 8 teams who are living on a prayer right now, 4 of them, including Memphis, are coached by former NBA players who are back at their old college. Patrick Ewing fits that bill as well. They're not going to the NCAA tournament. I don't think they've got a Big East tournament title run in them this year like they did last year. They're about to go winless in conference play for the first time in program history, and I just don't see any way that his tenure can continue under those circumstances. So it's on Penny, and it's on Hubert Davis, and it's on Mike Woodson at Indiana and Juwan Howard at Michigan when he gets back to kind of carry the torch for that fraternity of former NBA players who are back in the college coaching game, because Patrick Ewing has kind of let him down a little bit this year.
Would Patrick Ewing have been done last year if he didn't make that run in the Big East tournament and get that automatic qualifier?
Potentially, but they at least had some wins last season to where they were early enough in his tenure still that you could have made sense of going forward with it, I think, just because of who he was. But
it's Patrick Ewing.
0-17 in Big East.
It's sad to see. And the crowd
awful.
Yesterday. Ooh.
Yeah, there's just no way. And the fact is he keeps losing players. So the bones of the program, to me, don't look great. So they got a stud freshman this year, Aminu Muhammad, but based on the recent track record, how sure that he's even going to stay to see the thing through? Because
they have Mutombo's son. They have George Mirasan's son on the roster.
Can he get guys to stay? He had James Akinjo transferred out. He had Mac McClung transferred out. He had Qudus Wahab. He transferred out. These are really good college basketball players that he's been able to recruit, but for whatever reason, he hadn't been able to get them to stay. So that's been a huge issue for Patrick Ewing. And you just can't. People were saying this with Steve Prohm last year. People were saying, "Oh, is he going to get fired? Can they give him another year?" I just don't see it. You can't go winless in your conference.
No, you can't.
And keep your job. I don't care who you are. So. People were trying to stand up for Steve Prohm at this point last year and say, "Oh, he'll get another year at Iowa State. He did enough good there." You can't go winless at a program with any tradition.
How do you go sell season tickets?
Is that tradition even there anymore after a season like this?
I promise we won't go winless this year.
No,
that's some campaign.
Yeah, it's awful. So I don't see any way they move forward, and it's going to be a whirlwind because you're looking at a carousel that could get chaotic. And from my point of view, as somebody who's got to write about the NCAA tournament and the conference tournaments, it's a real pain when all of a sudden, in the midst of the mayhem, somebody drops in.
We don't need coaching news.
Yeah, the coach at Georgetown just got fired. Let's do something on that.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, okay. But it's just that time of year, so we'll find a way to get through it.
Give me 300 words on the new coach at Georgetown.
Exactly.
Hey, real quick, we're backed up against the break, but I want to get your quick thoughts on this. Do you think Jim Boeheim, with his sons graduating this year, probably being done, do you think he might be out the door at Syracuse?
That's another one that I'm kicking around in my head of like, should I go ahead and get 250 ready on Boeheim?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I think
put it in the draft.
Exactly, because he did acknowledge on his radio show the other day that both of his sons, I think, are planning to move on after this season, even though I think technically with the COVID year they could come back for another season. To me, that suggests he'll likely retire. That's not me reporting.
I figured they'd be picks 1 and 2 in the NBA draft. I don't know. Buddy Boeheim, come on. Tournament legend.
Yeah, Buddy's been good, and Jimmy's been better than expected this year, but the team as a whole has not been very good. So, and I don't know. I don't see any top 100 guys signing up to play for a coach who will be 80 by the time you're a sophomore. Not because he couldn't continue on if he really wanted to. It just seems unlikely at this point.
If you like an 80-year-old, you'll love his successor, introducing the new Syracuse coach, Rick Pitino.
I love it. Hopefully we get that. That will be one where I won't mind somebody asking me to write something if that transpires.
I got you. David, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, David. Enjoy the week.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You follow his work at cbssports.com and him on Twitter at David W. Kopp. We're going to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we talk about the bubble as a whole and the bracket as a whole as we bring on our bracketologist from USA Today and bracketwag.com, Shelby Mast.
Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane bring you Sports 56 Grind Time. Brought to you by Poultry Power. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The spring sales event is rocking and rolling at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Want 43 MPG Highway in these crazy times? We Gossett in 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage $239 a month or $16,715. 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport 27 MPG combined in an SUV $349 a month or $26,010. Plus redesigned 2022 Outlander. We Gossett at $398 a month. Not a lease, you own them. And get our stellar 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months Mirage, NH001803, MSRP 17465 Sport, NU003361, MSRP 27010, Outlander NZ053093, MSRP 29615. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
The graphics are so real on this video game console I bought with the savings from switching to Progressive 10 years ago. I can't tell what's real and what's the game, which I think is what people want, in the future, which it is currently.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Next on the luge, James Cooper.
James, you can't luge.
I didn't think I could get a credit card either, but Credit Karma showed me cards that I'm most likely to get approved for. That's Karma Confidence.
I got a card too, James. Members who shop on Credit Karma get approved 66% more. That doesn't mean you can luge.
Lose it or leave it, baby.
Karma Confidence. Great for credit cards. Not so great for the luge. Member approval rates in 2021, 66% higher than 2020 CFPB national average. Approval not guaranteed.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Coon.
Back rolling on Sports Time. Autos on listener line 901-360-8255. Text the show. Questions, comments, concerns on the Tigers. Where do you think they stand? We'll answer those at the end of the hour. You can also get those messages into Sports 56 WHBQ on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We go ahead and bring in our good friend and bracketologist from USA Today and BracketWag.com, Shelby Mast, at BracketWag, WAG, on Twitter. Shelby, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Doing well, Shelby. This is the time that the bracketologist, it's all your fault, isn't it?
Yeah. This is my time.
Who's coming at you the hardest? What fan base is coming at you the hardest?
It's been pretty quiet over the last few weeks, but early on it was Kentucky. They're
never pleased.
No, they aren't, and they
you have us as a 2 seed. How dare you?
Yeah, I had them in front of Duke, and they still weren't happy. So
there's no pleasing them. There's no pleasing them at that point. How about from some of the bubble teams? Have you gotten it from any of your last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out type of teams?
I'm hearing from St. Bonaventure fans. They don't think the net is fair. And
all 3 of them?
I know that. But they're arguing with the net rankings, and go see the NCAA about that.
Yeah, you don't do the net.
I can't help you with that one.
St. Bonnie, a 79
I was going to say,
the net today.
Speaking of St. Bonnie, I've been telling Brett about them, though. Down the stretch of the season, they could get these last couple wins, and then if they make a nice run in the A-10 tournament.
St. Bonnie was Mr. November. It was December and January that got them.
What do you think about them? Could they play their way back into the bracket?
Absolutely. They're real close, along with Memphis and VCU. I kind of expect them to make this run and go on and get in, but I don't know. I mean, they were preseason top 25, and they haven't lived up to it. So can they do it now?
Okay, locally, you have last 4 in: Indiana, Michigan, SMU, North Carolina. First 4 out, very first one, Memphis, VCU, St. Bonnie, Rutgers. Why SMU in over Memphis right now?
The 2 wins over Memphis. That's it. They're neck and neck, and not much separates them. And so that's when I go to head-to-head, and they got that.
And here's what separates them. Memphis a 42 net, SMU a 47. That's close to a draw. Memphis quad 1, 3 and 3, SMU quad 1, 2 and 2. Memphis quad 2, 3 and 4, SMU 4 and 3. It goes to those 2 head to head. I think that is easily explainable. And as I said last week, Shelby, if you reversed everything, I think you would understand it.
Yeah, and I'm hoping both get in, because that way I don't hear from the Memphis fans. Maybe I kind of expected Indiana to fall yesterday, and then both are in.
They tried.
Indiana, they tried, but they pulled it out at the end.
So, Tigers, South Florida, everybody should South Florida's not a good team. You should chalk that up as a win. I don't care where it's played.
241 net.
Now, they play Houston in the year. If they go in and they beat Houston at home in the FedEx Forum, do they become sort of on that protected seed line for you, or are they still a last 4 in type team?
I think they would be above that. 11 probably, maybe a 10. The results matter, but they cannot lose South Florida. I hope they're not looking ahead.
Right.
No, they can't do that. I can't imagine our phone lines and our temperament around here on Friday if they dropped one to 241 in the net, South Florida. But if they take care of business, win on the road on Thursday, win at home on Sunday afternoon, and then a potential 2 versus 3 seeded game in Fort Worth, would one Memphis win against the 2 SMU losses, but better in the net and beat them more recently, would that trump the 2 losses to SMU?
I think so. I think
do
at
too.
that point, it wouldn't be Memphis versus SMU for a spot. It'd be Memphis above SMU, and SMU would maybe need help then.
And then that's 3 from the AAC potentially.
That's right.
The weekly question we give you, Shelby, are 3 going to get in? And it's become more possible.
We were scared this was a one-bid league for a lot of this year.
It looked like it for a lot of the year, but I'm leaning towards 2 Memphis over SMU.
Mm-hmm. All right, I bet you're getting a lot of this. And I understand the loss to Hofstra in North Little Rock for Arkansas and the loss at home to Vanderbilt for Arkansas. I know that dings you pretty good. Why Arkansas? Yep. Why is Arkansas behind Tennessee?
Those 2 losses, basically. Tennessee doesn't really have anything bad on their resume. Arkansas has just a little bit. Plus, the committee had Tennessee above them on the reveal, and not much has changed.
Mm-hmm. But Arkansas did beat them on the Saturday of reveal day.
Right. But it's not a bad loss for Tennessee. But at that point, I had Arkansas 6 seed, and they didn't do enough to move up. And all of Tennessee's losses are in the top half of Quad 1. And Arkansas has those 2 blemishes that really kind of sting things up when you talk about moving them up higher.
Yeah, you can't lose at home to Jerry Stackhouse.
No.
Where does it sort of cut off for you, in your opinion, where you think these SEC teams are and who can actually make that sort of Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four type run? Where is that cutoff for you?
I'm thinking all the ones that are going to be in there have a chance. They can put together, all you got to do is put together 2 good games to get to the Sweet 16. And I can see every one of the Southeast Conference teams doing it. As far as the Final Four run, I think Kentucky and Auburn are built for that. I don't know so much about Tennessee or LSU or Arkansas. I think they're good teams, but built for a long, deep tournament run, I take Kentucky and Auburn.
I'm with you, but matchups are critical. If your bracket, let's say today, your bracket is exactly the reveal. Here's that any of them can scenario. Well, you got Alabama as a 5. Would that be against the 12 in the first round? That'd be you have it against the winner of SMU Michigan. That's another game for those 2 teams, and there's a reason why they're going to Dayton. Alabama would be favored, should win that. They would turn around and then play the 4. Alabama wants that rematch with UCLA from last year in the tournament.
Only problem is that I have it in San Diego. Home court advantage.
Sure would be. UCLA once won a national championship in San Diego a long time ago. Arkansas, same thing. If your bracket's right, 4 versus 13, Arkansas over South Dakota State. Next game, it would be Arkansas against Texas. How good would that be?
That'd be fun. Southwest Conference.
Bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
Texas fans love it, but I think Arkansas would love it more.
How much did all the upsets, numbers 1 through 6, affect what you did with your seeding in some of these teams, Arizona, Auburn, Purdue, Kansas, and Kentucky?
Well, it moved some teams up and other teams down. Baylor was rewarded. They won over Kansas, so they moved back to the 1 line. And it was a tough call, but I put Auburn down on the 2 line. They've lost twice since the reveal, so that's more than Arkansas or more than Arizona. But it also kind of opens the door a little bit for Duke to get up to the 1 line. A lot would need to happen, but there is hope.
And curiously, where did you have St. Mary's before the win versus Gonzaga, as far as the seed line was concerned?
In the middle of the 7 line.
Okay.
And I
moved up a hole, straight to the 6.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Right now, you have 6 from the SEC, 2 from the AAC. The SEC's not going to 7, is it?
Not unless Florida, South Carolina wins the tournament.
Mississippi State at 52 net.
I think they're done.
I do too, and they've kind of looked. Although I do love Iverson Molinar, and there are some NBA mock drafts out there that have the Grizzlies taking him second round. I think that would be great building for the future for backup point guard if you lose the backup point guard the Grizzlies have now. For at your site, how much action are you getting? I mean, what's the hits you get this time of year?
About 1,000 a day. I don't know where they're all from or who they are.
That's good traffic.
That's good traffic. I'll take it. And then after Selection Sunday, it goes down to about 0.
Yeah, you're kind of. So we don't do that to you, Shelby. We keep you during the tournament to get your thoughts on proper seating, what was right, what was wrong, and as you I think yesterday you may have written that this is not what you want. This is what you're trying to discern and glean and guess what the committee wants.
It amazes me that people don't seem to get that. They think I'm making these picks where I think a team should be, and it's not what I think. It's what I think the committee will do, not what they should do. What I think they will do, and that's why I say I hate every team. So there's my disclaimer put out there early, and I'm not playing homers or nothing like that. I'm trying to guess what they do.
Real quick, you have Indiana, Michigan, and Rutgers, either in the last 4 in. Indiana, Michigan, both in the last 4 in. You have Rutgers in the first 4 out. Do you think that Rutgers can play themselves in? And also, I mean, how likely do you think 9 teams from the Big Ten is in the end of the day?
I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll end up 7. Indiana or Michigan or both may drop out. But for right now, I've got them in. More teams play themselves out of the tournament than into the tournament. Mm-hmm. And so the teams that are mid-major tied, Belmont is still alive. Even though they lost bad to Murray State, I can't completely ignore them.
Right.
I think they will get more than one bid. But who is that second or third bid going to be? I don't know. But they're all playing pretty good right now.
Mm-hmm. And we're heading into conference tournament time, so we're going to catch up next week, and we'll have a lot more to discuss then. Shelby, always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Shelby. Have a great week. Shelby Mass from USA Today, bracketwag.com, the official bracketologist for USA Today. The commissary at either place, the new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, it's ready for March Madness. We're going to get the run of weather this week that we can take it out to the patio at Houston, Levy, and Poplar. Memphis-style barbecue, ribs, so good. Authentic Memphis-style great food. Start that barbecue feast with the appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos invented at the Germantown commissary in the early 80s. That is a must for basketball viewing over the next 6 weeks or so. The smoked chicken wings, terrific. All that could be your entree. But you can start with that, and then you can get to the good stuff. And you can also, if you're craving an easier way to order, you can text commissary to 33733. Dig into the ribs or the shoulder, get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, or you can get it on the plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well, and the party packs. A must. 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack. Save room for dessert. Best lemon icebox pie anywhere. Outstanding banana pudding and more. 901-754-5540. The official home of fun in March for Tigers fans and NCAA tournament watching. Online at commissarybbq.com. 2 great locations. The new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown.
When we come back, we have some bubble talk. We have some bubble games to watch tonight. Syracuse at North Carolina, San Diego State at Wyoming. We will discuss when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, Mid-South, get ready to ride at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike with the President's Day sales event. You want 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude? We Gossett $359 a month. How about the Muscle Masterpiece 2021 Dodge Challenger GT, only $529 a month. And Ram 1500 Express Quad Cab 4x2 returns for 2022, and we Gossett at $559 a month. Come see us trade up and we'll give you more for your ride at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come for our best, or shop online anytime at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 at 3.99, 3,500 down. Must finance through Chrysler. Chrysler Capital Bonus Cash 500. Renegade MPN 271.83. MSRP 28.5. Challenger MH66 52.56. MSRP 37.475. Ram NS 148 241. MSRP 38.930. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do, and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
You're the one everyone looks to for answers. Come rain or shine, the job must get done, and you're the one who makes it happen. We get you, Jackie in Fresno, putting your employee safety first. And Manny in Chattanooga, whose local Granger team knows him by name. We're here for you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support and access to product specialists to help you find what you need. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
The global shortage on chicken is finally over, but there are still places that will tell you that it is hard to find, except for our good friends at Poultry Power. Poultry Power is currently delivering chicken in bulk to your home or business at prices lower than your local grocer or food distributor. Having a cookout or catering event? Tired of being told no by other food companies when you need chicken for your restaurant? Poultry Power can save the day. Visit www.poultrypower.org to place your order now. And remember, when others tell you no, Poultry Power has the power to tell you yes.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around, Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
As far as the bubble is concerned, only a couple games tonight of impact on the bubble. Syracuse at North Carolina, even though North Carolina, I think in a lot of bracketology, and being that they're ACC, being
that they're North
Carolina, I think they're probably in. They got a win over NC State over the weekend. I think they're at 21 wins now. I think they're up there. They're probably going to get the nod.
Quad one win. One.
San Diego, yes. And sometimes, again, I will never understand the net fully. I will never understand the net
there's
fully.
a site out there that keeps the old RPI that at one time was the Holy Grail. It doesn't parallel with the net. They're very different.
Why? Whatever happened to the RPI?
I don't know why it fell out of favor. The NC came up with their own metric, and they use it. They rely on it.
Yeah, but the net is just so flawed in so many different
Feels
ways.
like it, doesn't it?
Because you're talking about a Michigan team who's 4-8 in the quad one and 37 overall in the net, and you think about some of these teams.
And the eye test for Michigan, they don't knock you over.
No, they don't have guard play at all. Hunter Dickinson does everything for them. And if you go in and you look at some of these teams below them, Memphis. If Memphis had 12 quad one opportunities, how many would they win?
All three of us. Let's.
They're 3-3 right now,
Brian. And let's try our best. And I know we will. Let's try not to look through blue and gray glasses.
Right.
Let's just go eye test. Watching the Memphis Tigers on February 28th, after playing yesterday, let's go eye test. Memphis or VCU? I don't think it's close.
I'd say Memphis.
Yeah,
Memphis St. Bonnie.
That's tough. That's a tougher one right now because Bonnie.
I say Memphis.
It's not
Bonnie's
for me.
have been rolling.
It was tough in November.
Where are they playing? Also, but I'll lean Memphis.
Memphis Rutgers.
Rutgers. I like Rutgers a lot.
I would say Memphis. That's the first one that we've had real disagreement. Indiana.
I'm going Memphis.
I guess I'll lean Memphis.
It's not even a lean for me. It's Memphis.
Michigan's tough for me because
I don't think it's close.
That is a hell of a post player they have that's grown a shot. Stretching Jalen Duren away from the basket. We saw how Jalen Duren struggles with that a little bit, but he's come into his own. He's played a lot better.
Here's the frailties of eye test. Memphis and SMU.
We've seen it. We've seen
it. I would take the Tigers, but I've seen two basketball games, and winning has to matter, doesn't it?
And I've seen a basketball game where they had a bunch of injuries. They got all those injuries fixed. They went to SMU and got smacked around with all their guys healthy.
Memphis, North Carolina. About a push.
About a push.
Coin toss.
May lean North Carolina, but eye test doesn't do anything for the committee.
No, it doesn't.
They don't much care about that. But over the weekend on Bubble Watch, you had Florida State get the win over Virginia. Can we pull the plug completely on Virginia? I don't want to hear about Virginia on any bubble conversations anymore.
And Virginia, one of the longest, strangest NCAA tournament trips ever. 18 loses the 1 seed first time ever. 19 win it all. No tournament for anybody in 20. Last year's ugly exit.
Yeah.
I guess that one winning it all pacifies you, doesn't it?
He still
makes
has,
it all worth it.
And he still has some leftovers from that team. Kihei Clark's been there about 15 years at this point. He's still their starting point guard.
Yeah, he came in right after Ralph Sampson left, didn't he? In the early 80s, 40 years ago.
Just about.
Or Old and Polynese, one of them.
Iowa State gets the win over Kansas State. Kansas State, I don't know why they were ever considered bubble, but they're certainly off.
I saw them in Oxford, again, 1 day, 2 hours. They were horrible.
North Carolina gets the win over North Carolina State. I think North Carolina puts themselves in a position, and that was on the road. I think North Carolina's putting themselves every day in a better position to be locked into a seed line. Virginia Tech with a win over Miami. And that's Virginia Tech had struggled with quad one opportunities up until that point.
In the Memphis perspective, though, you're pulling for Virginia Tech, aren't you? Win the two this week, make some noise at ACC.
But do you pull for them? I feel like there's a limit to how much you want to pull for them because they could potentially steal a spot, right? Yeah. Because if they play too well,
head to head has to matter, especially when you're talking a 41 net and a 42 net. Virginia Tech 41, Memphis 42. If I'm in the committee, they played, Memphis won, they get the bid.
Bonaventure got the win over St. Joe's, but St. Bonaventure, I think VCU and Richmond to end the year, which I don't know where both of those teams stand as far as net rankings are concerned. That's quad 1 or quad 2 for both of those teams. Though VCU is a bubble team, and Richmond's a really good team this year. So if St. Bonaventure can get some wins in those last 2 games, you never know where they will be. I have been saying that the whole time. I'm scared of that team as a whole. USC gets the win over Oregon. Oregon got the win over UCLA, but then lost at home to USC. And Boogie Ellis's return and Bryant Sky's return.
Oregon is showing you on the floor they're playing their way out, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, well, they beat UCLA, so you got to wait with them. Pac-12 tournament time, we'll see, too. By the way, Drew Peterson in that game, knockdown to win the game.
When the bracket is finally revealed, I love former champion against former champion first-round games. And if Shelby is right, in Dayton, Indiana against North Carolina. That's 2 of the big ones.
Then Sunday, when it came to watching the bubble, Brett, I don't know about you, but these Big Ten teams and how the committee sees them scares me a lot for the Tigers' sake. Because
I think they overvalue them.
Illinois beat Michigan, but that's not going to hurt Michigan that much in the net.
Nothing does.
Indiana beat Minnesota on the road. That's going to help them dramatically. If Michigan and Indiana can have at least a strong into the season, I feel like the committee's going to lean their way and give them a bid. Just seems to be how it works out.
Big Ten.
Yep. Even though I don't think is there anyone in the Big Ten that you're incredibly afraid of? If Purdue hits the right stride, but I've known Matt Painter a while now, and he's never really gotten over that hump. But Iowa doesn't do it for me, even though they've been playing good.
Michigan State sure doesn't.
No, they've struggled really badly. Illinois, compared to last year, I saw them get knocked out in the second round by Loyola Chicago with better guard play. I would assume who was on that team. This year, they don't have anybody like that. So, we'll see what happens. That'll do it for hour number 2. Hour number 3, on the way, on the other side. Stay with us.
I'm Brian Elder. There are a lot of ways to ruin your roof. Probably none worse than ice and snow. Google the term ice dam, and you'll understand that standing snow and ice can destroy your home's interior. Call me, 867-0303. Damaged ceilings or interior? It's time to call Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. We're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, so we've been vetted and trained by the best. You've known the name for years. Call me before you call your insurance company. We won't try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. We'll measure your roof from outer space. Call me, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Dare Ya or the Double Dare Ya, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
Folks are falling head over heels for these wheels and deals. Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales, and it's the season of love. I'm on a mission to help you meet your match. So if you've fallen out of love with your old ride or other dealers have left you brokenhearted, we've got a solution for every situation. Low monthly payments? No problem. Low down payments? You could drive for just a couple bucks down. Trade-ins? We're paying way more than it's worth. And you could even lower your monthly payment in the process. My For the People credit approval process hooks you up with the banks and lenders who want to approve you. It's time to fall in love, Memphis, when you drive a nicer, newer car for less. I'm Colin Johnston, and I'm your dealer. For the People. See all the wheels and deals at DeSotoAutosales.com. That's DeSotoAutosales.com. Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Vehicle purchase price determines actual trade allowance. For example, 2014 Ford Fusion 0 down, $264 per month payment at 5.5 APR for 72 months. Offer absolutely ends February 28th, 2022.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
The graphics are so real on this video game console I bought with the savings from switching to Progressive 10 years ago. I can't tell what's real and what's the game, which I think is what people want. In the future, which it is currently.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Yes, it's still winter. Yes, it's still cold outside. But Family Leisure wants you to start thinking towards spring and maybe even summer. So Family Leisure's pool and patio sale is happening right now. Come to Family Leisure to get started on your outdoor living space. Yes, I know it's cold and dreary outside, but this is the perfect time to think ahead. Pools are in stock and ready to go. Brand new 2022 patio furniture is hitting the floor each and every day. In-stock hot tubs are ready for delivery. You can get fantastic deals on play gyms, trampolines, grills, and outdoor kitchens. I know you are already looking forward to spring and summer, and so does Family Leisure. But if you sit on the couch too long, the best deals will be gone. So don't wait until it's too late. Stop thinking about spring and summer. Start planning for it. The pool and patio sale is in season right now. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road. That's Whitten at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Final hour on this Monday, talking a very victorious weekend for the Hoop City teams. Tigers yesterday, Grizzlies on Saturday night in Chicago. The Grizzlies downtown tonight at FedEx Forum against our good buddy Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Believe me when I say this, but if you don't believe me, go online and look at all those referrals, look at all those beautiful cars, all the testimonials from very pleased customers through the years at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars test driven, all checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. Even in this time when it's short at a lot of places and challenging, they have the cars. And if they don't have the car you want, they can go find that car for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like a member of the family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. But they do care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a world today that time really matters. That's why they keep it simple. Find the car you want. You test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there. It's done in 45 minutes or less. You can do it right now, immediately after work, and be at FedEx Forum in time for the Grizzlies game to start at 7 o'clock. Plenty of time for that. At 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
So Tigers 2 more games. But that game against Wichita State, the one thing that jumped off the page to me Brett, the fall from grace for that Wichita State program this year has been pretty substantial. 13-12, 4-9 in conference. After a year where they got to the tournament, they got to the dance.
Those two thrashings the Tigers put on them. The first one to start the calendar year 2022 in Wichita when they blasted them 82-64, and then yesterday took them apart from the tip. Watching Wichita State. They're very fundamentally poor. I think they're very poorly coached. They got stuck with just the guy standing there during the Greg Marshall fall. They had to hire the assistant. The locker room put a lot of pressure on that athletics department to keep him, and often that's what you get when the locker room hires a coach. Greg Marshall yesterday was rolling over in his grave, and he's not even dead yet. It was pitiful to watch what he built there. Now, he did himself in there.
Of course.
But it was bad to see. Any way he pops up in any of these
I don't know.
Rehabilitation stories.
You wonder because he was really good
I mean, Billy Gillespie has a job. It's Tarleton, but Billy Clyde Gillespie has a job.
We'll see. The extent of what he
Art
did.
Art got hired as an assistant coach.
You're making good points. You are making good points.
Well, Art Briles hired and fired at Grambling.
He just got fired?
Mm-hmm. Breaking news.
I said he wouldn't make it to opening day, remember?
Just happened on the break.
Fired.
Wow.
Fired. Let go. Yep.
I said,
and did you see Hugh Jackson put out a big old release today from his foundation saying
he didn't have.
We went through all of this. We went through all of this. We have a clear understanding of the role that he's going to play.
But Patino has a job.
Yeah, I don't know, and it's just hard. It's hard if you're you have to say you vetted him.
It takes one AD to go out there and take the heat, and you'll take the heat really until opening night.
Art Briles fired already. Was that even a week? It wasn't even a week officially.
It was reported by Pete Thamel about 10 minutes ago.
You know, my question with that becomes, where the hell were the Grambling higher-ups on this whole thing? Why don't you just tell him he cannot hire him at all? Instead of getting the paperwork done and waiting for the backlash that you knew was inevitably going to come.
A lot of stories said Doug Williams had a fit.
Well, yes, I understand. He said he wouldn't support the program. There's a lot of people from Grambling State saying they wouldn't support the program.
Of course, he's deceased now, but in Grambling lore, Grambling Mount Rushmore, of course, Eddie Robinson, Doug Williams would be way up there.
There are things.
Buck Buchanan.
Hey, listen, Brett, I said this when they made the hire. I'm for second chances, third for what he did and how many sexual assaults he covered up. I don't know at age 66 in the text and what he covered up and how much he knew. I don't know if you can ever get another chance and redeem yourself from that. I don't know if you deserve it. I really don't think he deserved it. And it's just bizarre to me that you hire a guy, you hear the backlash you knew was coming, and now you immediately fired him after you already put him on contract.
How hard one? Y'all ready?
That's bizarre.
Does somebody in the SEC take a swing at Rick Pitino? There's going to be openings.
Yeah.
He knows the league.
I say no.
How near in the future? I mean, how like this
3
year?
weeks.
I say no.
This cycle.
I say no.
This carousel.
I say no. That's just a lot of baggage to take in. Although
South Carolina to replace Crazy Frank, Mississippi State to replace Ben Howland.
You think Crazy Frank's gone?
Close.
Yeah,
he's about to talk his way out.
He wears his welcome places, doesn't he? With those crazy eyes, just staring holes through people.
If you're John Cohen, have Mike Leach and Rick Pitino down the hall from you. What could go wrong?
A lot. Now back to the Tigers. Let's get back to the Tigers. That game, I thought there were a lot of positives for the Tigers. Turnovers were definitely the big negative, but they've done that. It's just sort of ingrained in them. They turn the ball over. They take chances with the ball. But they just knocked down shots at a high level yesterday. And we got asked the question earlier, who's the guy you really want to rely on in the Tigers offense? If you need a bucket, who do you go give it to? You said Jalen Duren. The only thing I would dissent, the only way I would dissent to that is if you need a bucket, he struggles with that post trap really badly. Turned the ball over 5 times yesterday.
Yeah, he needs to recognize that better. And I think if he gets on a roll and they do that, they employ that on him, he's got to recognize it and then out to a nollie or a Quinones.
And you would think that would be drilled really hard in practice. You would think. Because he's going to see it every time he gets the ball in the post.
Well, this team is clearly healthy, and it's clearly better than it was a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Alex Lomax, though, kind of back to his ways. No points, 4 turnovers, 4 assists.
Doesn't need to shoot.
Doesn't need to shoot. I get that, but the turnovers, you just, with him, limit to 1 or 2. If you're not going to be shooting the ball, just take the crisp, easy passes. Even though they turned the ball over a lot, though, I thought the ball was popping around. I thought they did a good job with ball movement.
How would y'all treat Selection Sunday if you know you're in, if you feel certain you're in?
If you know you're in.
I think you throw a gala. Do y'all? A party.
I think people would enjoy that. I think people would enjoy that.
It should.
With the Memphis Rebounders.
Yeah.
Club, all that. Would you do it at the facility? I think that would be the normal place, right?
I think I might do it in the lobby of FedEx Forum. I think I have a party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come one, come all. Stop that drought.
Yeah.
Finally get there.
I don't think they do it at FedEx Forum, though. I don't see that.
May not.
I don't see that.
Might do it in the lobby of the Laurie Walton Center.
Yeah, that's where I would think it would be.
Where the press conference when he was hired.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't go sedate. I wouldn't go ho-hum.
At this point, though, what's
have it over at Cody Topper's house?
Besides the automatic.
I mean, Cody's got a great house. But
at this point, if it's not the automatic qualifier, how do you know for certain you're in? Beat Houston, win your first round game, probably win a second round game in the AAC tournament, then you feel pretty confident?
I think you do. But then you have that big party and you're
if you have a big old party and you
out.
think that you're absolutely in and you get snubbed, that's not fun. That would not be a fun one at all.
That's like a election night party and you don't win. Hard to have a party.
I also think Penny, before they got into just whooping Wichita State, I thought he did a good job of keeping that starting lineup in there as long as he really could and letting them play it out. I thought he did a better job. Gave Josh Minot more minutes, kept Chandler Lawson out of the game for the most part, didn't take any of those minutes away from Josh Minot. He's going to have to lean on the guys.
He's down to his guys. Every year gets down to.
Yes. Tyler Harris, off the bench.
Still just one basketball, though, Gabe.
Oh yeah. The whole time. Off the bench, who are the guys that absolutely need to be in the rotation consistently? Tyler Harris, Josh Minot, and then take your pick. Earl Timberlake, probably another guy.
And, if it's Tyler Harris, you be bringing us something, or it's a quick exit. Make a couple shots or come back and set by me. For Timberlake, can't have the first shot stuffed back in your face.
And don't, with all due respect to Earl Timberlake, don't take a jump shot.
Right.
Like, with all due respect,
you just run the offense.
That's a knuckleball that he throws up there. And he can get to the rim. He's strong. He can create some mismatches with some of those wing players.
Probably a little more flexibility with Minot because he's such a great athlete.
Where do y'all stand? And I want to bring Brian in for this as well. Malcolm Dandridge. How big of a role? Because I think Penny has shown that he wants to play him at times.
Brian?
How big of a role does he play off the bench in a tournament? AAC tournament,
what
try to play into the NCAA tournament.
When you see him go to the scoring table, what do you think, Brian? Because you're there.
Like, really, honestly.
I mean, he gave them really good minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a question of when are you going to have to turn to him, because we've seen DeAndre and Jalen for the majority of the season have had trouble staying in the game due to foul troubles. I think he's going to be a guy that you're going to have to try to get good minutes out of. In a game like yesterday where both guys were out of foul trouble, you weren't really worried about that. It was kind of like, let's see what he does today. A little nervousness, but also they had that big lead. I wasn't too worried about it. But I do think he could be a guy that you need good minutes from.
And then there's a level with his game of just inconsistency.
No, he's very inconsistent.
Because like yesterday, you see those minutes he brings, and you like what you see, so you want to play him again. You want to play him again for over 10 minutes the next night, and then it's not even close to the same level of production.
And against bigger teams, when he goes in, whether it's foul trouble or just to give those guys a rest, for him, when you have a foul, make it count.
Got to play more physical.
Through the echo of the whistle.
And that's kind of been the issue, though, is when you
No
look at
stuff.
When you look at the Tigers bench, in their bigs in a lot of ways, DeAndre Williams, Jalen Duren, they bring Josh Minot off the bench. They have fouling issues, every single one of them, and they have to be in there. DeAndre Williams and Jalen Duren off the floor is disaster.
But to be having the conversation of the Tigers pretty much in, we didn't think we would get to this last week of the year.
No,
I mean,
after the SMU game and all of the antics after that game, there was no way you thought you were
after losing at Georgia and at Ole Miss, and I said these very airwaves, you just lost to 13 and 14 in the SEC. That's what they are. They're 13 and 14 today.
The turning point for me was after the postponed game against Cincinnati because of weather. They were at FedEx Forum against UCF, and they were all healthy again. And we didn't know if DeAndre Williams was going to return. We didn't know what was going to happen. But they won 88-60. That's when my mind turned. I said, okay, they're healthy now. They're in a better position today than they were 2 weeks ago. So but then all that changes when you see them put up that second half they did against SMU. You still know that some bad basketball's in there. You see the turnovers. You know there's some bad basketball in there. This team, it's just so
it has
hard.
its flaws.
It's
a lot of flaws.
It's so hard to get a hold on what they are. Are they what we saw in them knocking down shots yesterday, or are they the second half of SMU? Is there an in between?
Well, it beats going to the NIT.
Have you checked the NIT bracketology lately?
I did yesterday. Barking Crow Tigers were number one seed in the Memphis seed.
Again,
Memphis region.
Brad, if we're going to keep referencing Barking Crow, we have to get to the bottom of who runs.
I can't find him.
Have you put in a contact form? Does he have a contact form in there?
I emailed. I think there's a place on there for inquiries. You see it, Bryant?
I'm looking at. There's a lot of people commenting. Maybe you just need to go on there and comment a lot of times, and maybe we'll see it.
You know, I'm Mr. Comment.
Are those bots commenting, or are they just regular commenters?
A couple of them have pictures.
Okay.
Read the first comment.
Let's see the first comment.
Well, be careful. Be careful with the comments. Comment section not great.
I have two questions. Does anyone know if NIT will be 16 teams like last year or back to 32? Great question. That's someone who really cares about the NIT, really wants. Let's get one more. This is from Michael.
Are we sure the NIT's going off?
Yes.
I would think so.
I would hope so. If the Barking Crow's doing this bracketology every day, I sure hope.
And they're updating it, too. That's the important thing.
When was last update?
Oh, let's see if we can get that. February 25th. So, we gotta get it updated a little bit more.
7-second delay of updates. But
yeah.
3 days.
I think there will be teams that pass on going to the NIT like they did last year.
Yeah.
For this reason, we've had enough testing. We've had all the fun we can stand. See you in October.
What if the Tigers are a 1 seed in it?
I'm not having that conversation.
Okay, not yet. Okay, we can't do it. Can't do it. We need to get to the bottom of who the Barking Crow is.
Drag me into that conversation today. No way.
Oh, my gosh. Barking Crow.
Hey,
that's the only NIT bracketology I know of.
That's the only one I know. It's my trusted one. That's my go-to.
You're trusted.
Used to, and I think I even had
Define trusted,
I had
please.
this guy on at one time. It was like NYC buckets, like New York City buckets. But I tried to find him, and it was out of business. Called Kevin Sweeney and said, we got any NIT contacts? And he said, well, used to NYC Buckets did a thing. I said, he's done. I can't find him.
Kevin knows. Kevin's got.
Yeah, and if he can't find them.
If there's a metric, he knows it.
He does.
If there's bracketology, he might know somebody who does CBI bracketology. He might.
I found another NIT bracketology.
What?
This is dratings.com.
D-ratings?
Yes.
They're good. That's the schedule people, isn't it?
D1? Is it D1?
So. No, it's D1.
No, you're thinking of D1.
Yeah, this is just a lot of predictions. This might be a gambling site. I'm not sure.
But yeah, if you are on Twitter, D1 docket for scheduling. Pretty good. Pretty good. But D-ratings.
D-ratings.
What do they have? Curiously.
They have Memphis in the last 4 in for the NCAA tournament. They have SMU as the first number 1 seed for the NIT.
Oh.
Along with VCU, Virginia Tech, and the Bonnies.
The Bonnies. See, I kind of I don't know, Brett. I don't know if you're going to have a bunch of people opt out of the NIT necessarily. I mean, it depends on how much you're paying for trips and everything else.
I think the more name brand, the less allure of going to the NIT.
But if you're playing at home,
and last year it was all in Dallas. It wasn't even in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But New York City, relaxing.
Yeah. I don't know how many people opt out. You seem to be strong in that thought, though.
Not that strong. I can get weak.
Also locally, Ole Miss has been. It's been a really tough go of it.
I told the nice people I was at the game with. I said, "This kind of day, this kind of season, let's get to the end."
I mean,
by all reports, Kermit Davis will be back next year.
Yes, and he should. Like this year's been tough. Jarkel Joyner out for extended period of time.
I think Jarkel will be back next year.
Deshaun Ruffin out for an extended period of time. I always thought if they could get both those guys on the floor, I'm not saying they'd be playing on the bubble. They would be. I'm not saying they'd be fantastic.
Right,
not saying they'd be a tournament team, but they'd be at least competitive. And it's been just a struggle.
If Arkansas regrets the Hofstra game, and they do, that around that same time period, Ole Miss losing at home to Samford it kind of told you.
Do you think
what the SEC
with the transfer portal and everything else, you think that there will be any struggles for Kermit?
Losing or acquiring?
Losing.
Both.
Okay.
I think he'll do well in acquisition, and I think he could have a player or two that you really don't want to lose. But that's going to be a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Matthew Morrell is never really quite. And he's had games here and there this year. He's had 30-point games.
That was his highlight game.
He's most certainly a volume scorer.
He is. Had a big dunk Saturday, but started the game down 14-zip, and what air was in the building was quickly out.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that's just –
and A&M's nothing special.
Yeah. There's no reason to, if you're an Ole Miss fan, to call for Kermit's job by any stretch of the imagination. But by next year, if he brings some things in, you hope that it gets on the right track.
Well, he is completing his 4th year, and he's been to the NCAA tournament one time.
Right.
That's not much.
No, I understand that, and it has to do with recruiting. But I think, again, this year, 13-16 does not necessarily reflect what I thought they'd be coming into the year. With the injuries they had to the main scoring and distributing players on their team. Jarkel Joyner and Deshaun Ruffin run that team. And when they're not on the floor, it's just you can't hope for much.
Yeah.
Now, I can't imagine Nasir Brooks will be coming back for his 7th year. I think he's done, right?
The effort early Saturday was shockingly lacking, and Kermit Davis recognized it with
that's
5 subs, 5 in, 5 out.
Doesn't it have to be like that for a lot of these lower level teams, lower ranked or placed teams in the power conference?
And if you think it can't be any more grim, go to Rupp Arena tomorrow night. Hadn't won there since 1998. When AD, with the new contract, Keith Carter was on the team I think Valentine's night, 1998.
We believe. Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Come on, we believe. Why not? Actually, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why not, so let me step back from that.
I got a lot of belief, but that's not one of them.
Let's go ahead. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll finish the last 30 minutes, and we'll get to what's trending right here on Sportstime with Gabe and Stats.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, Mid-South, the Kia President's Day sales event is in full swing at Gossett Kia on the Pike, and you're going to want to make your move today. Get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and get ready to ride in a 2022 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month. 2022 Kia Soul LX, $219 a month. Both 36-month leases, $27.99 due at signing. Plus 2022 Kia Sorento LX, we Gossett, $308 a month. 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing. So come see Bobby J. He's going to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte Indy 456, $841, MSRP $21,090. Soul N78, $23,215, MSRP $21,515. Sorrento NG 104,027, MSRP $31,460. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 must finance through KMF. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22. Dealer stock only.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts, boots, and more. Frontier continues to add new items in their women's boutique. Flare jeans and pants are in, and Frontier is fully stocked. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops as well, all at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier's your #1 Carhartt store. No one has a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear by Carhartt. Wrangler and Area clothing available too. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled and expanded world-famous boot showroom? Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. There are over 1,000 pair of Area boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. Frontier recently added Hey Dude shoes with lots more on the way. As if the selection isn't reason enough, Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores. So when you're ready for your next pair, you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in on Sports Time, last 30 minutes of the show. Autos on listener line, 901-360-8255 if you'd like to join it for those last 30 minutes. Also, you can message us on our socials, Sports56WHBQ, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and go to our website, sports56WHBQ.com. Every podcast hour, we have our featured audio up there as well. So, Bryant, you did let us know in the last segment, Art Briles, about 36 minutes ago, according to Pete Thamel, has officially resigned as the Grambling offensive coordinator. Which is just this whole situation. Brett, I'll never understand signing the contract, going there, and then caving. And look, he should never have gotten this job, in my opinion. So I want to put that out there. But caving to the scrutiny that you knew you were going to get. It's lost on me how these things work sometimes.
Is it caving, or is it listening to your loyalists, the people that love Grambling football, Grambling University more than anything?
Well, they were speaking ahead of time, too. They were told about this situation.
Took a while to listen. Took a while for the message to get
Doug
through.
Williams said he knew about it. Mm-hmm. He had understood what they were trying to do, and he said he'd never support it if they did, and they still went through with it.
Long before the Art Briles fall at Baylor, when in Texas is always hiring a football coach, we had, I think it was Rob Fisher and I had George Schroeder, who was then Football Writers Association of America president. I think George was at an affiliation then in Eugene, Oregon, had been in Oklahoma City, had been at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. And I asked him, I said, what about Art Briles as the next Texas head coach? And this was long before all the controversy and
for the nastiness,
horrible allegations. And he had a good line. He said, no. He said, Art Briles is too Texas for Texas.
He's a piece of work. He's despicable for what he did at Baylor, and it's kind of
look at that whole Baylor mess.
In a way,
from Ken Starr running the school,
right? Understood. I understand. It's crazy too to think how much success he did have at Baylor.
Had him there,
100%. Heisman winner. Had them running some of the best offense in the country. And then 52 allegations of sexual assault that he
text messages or
that he knew about, that he absolutely 100% knew about, that he just decided to swipe under the rug. Oh man, just gross. But
I mean, they were all, and Baylor wasn't that far removed from Dave Bliss and a player killing another player at that point.
Yep.
And Scott Drew was the kind of the steady hand there, and Scott Drew wanted the Memphis job and was sabotaged.
Still will never understand how Scott Drew got sabotaged with getting the Memphis job.
It was something to watch.
Makes no sense, and I will never understand how he actually got to the heights he has with Baylor and kept them there. How he's doing what he's doing.
Not a single allegation against him, and that's what cost him here by some with no corroboration, no substantiation. It was, I heard, I've been told, some have said. It was so veiled. I couldn't believe my eyes and ears. And it derailed him because he was the last thing standing in the way of getting Jolly Josh the job. And some powerful forces wanted Josh to get the job.
But where did they, these people saying they heard something about him, where would they have possibly heard that? What could they have possibly heard?
Here was some of it written. I was texted this. I was told that. No name, no sourcing, no. Gabe Kuhn told me.
Anonymous sourcing.
Brett Norsworthy says, and all these veiled accusations around Scott Drew and what a detestable human being he is.
How about hindsight?
And he walks through that whole mess at Baylor and never is touched by an ounce of scandal and builds a powerhouse program. A lot of these bad years for the Tigers could have been averted with John Calipari, Scott Drew. Now, replacing John Calipari by anybody, anyone,
so
that was going to be tough because he had taken to just exorbitant heights.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have dodged Josh trying to learn on the job. Speaking of Josh, take a guess at Georgia Tech net today?
Are they in the 200s? Not quite. 170.
Very great guess. 165. Very good guess.
He's done some good things there, but
not much.
Overwhelmingly average to below average.
Overwhelmingly underwhelming.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of people would sort of describe him in that fashion, as far as being a basketball coach and what he's been able to accomplish.
But the idea of having a very staid, consistent figure like Scott Drew,
mm-hmm.
and doesn't seem to be any penalty for some that led that sabotage.
We're talking about media here. We're talking about people that hide their names too, behind the scenes, whether it's boosters and everything else. They're not going to see a penalty for that ever.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing and seeing, and again the lack,
and you hear those things, you start to buy them. You start to buy them after a while.
And lectured to by so much of that bunch and their ilk about journalism and standards and decorum. To be lectured to by that bunch by so much, and then to see that takedown of a guy, and then just walk away from it and try to distance yourself from it.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Now, We've been talking about this Kyler Murray situation past few weeks. His agent put out an open letter to the Cardinals today. And in it,
open letter. That was War and Peace.
Yeah, this is a.
Did you read that tome?
This is a pretty strongly toned letter, to say the least. He has 2 goals and objectives. He says he absolutely wants to be your long-term QB. Talking to the Cardinals, he said he desperately wants to win the Super Bowl as well. And then this last paragraph, I'm going to read it. It is now simply up to the Cardinals to decide if they prioritize their rapidly improving 24-year-old, already 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback who led the organization from 3 wins before his arrival to 11 wins and their first playoff appearance in 5 years. Or rather, if they choose to financially prioritize committing to other areas and continuing to merely talk about addressing Kyler's long-term future as their quarterback. Unfortunately, every other player, coach, and executive in the NFL knows or should know that words and hypothetical contractual promises are regularly dismissed and fleeting in this business. Kyler remains hopeful that the organization chooses to commit so that he can continue leading the Cardinals to further success and value for many years to come.
Has he done enough to demand anything?
A new contract.
Well, he's going to get that.
But why all this side stuff about how he's spoiled and all of this stuff? Clearly, and in my opinion, and you could disagree with me on this,
public opinion,
but clearly coming from somebody in
Inside
that Cardinals front office.
Yeah, but somebody with
there's posturing,
more than a functionary, somebody with some heft.
There's posturing going on here that if I were Kyler Murray, I'd be very frustrated.
Well, it is. But pop up his first 3 years.
Okay.
Pop up. Touchdown passes, interceptions, passing yardage.
Let me get to it.
And I can tell you without
passing yardage not that high.
About 3,700 a year.
Yes.
We'll nail it.
He's at 11,000 on his career.
Okay, that's
TDs. He's 70.
It's about 27 a year.
TDs 70 to 34.
And it's about 10 or 11 interceptions a year.
Rushing yards, though, I mean, we're talking about a guy who can do that at a ridiculously high level. I mean, 1,700 yards in 3 years.
But he's in a draft class with Josh Allen. He hadn't done that.
No, he hasn't. But you talking about a really, really bad before he got there team and franchise. Their leadership was awful.
Buffalo.
Well, Buffalo had been to the playoffs a couple years before Josh Allen got there with Tyrod Taylor as the starting quarterback. And Josh Allen in his first year, I think we'll agree, not overwhelmingly fantastic. I think Kyler Murray has climbed the ladder.
I just don't think he's done enough to demand anything. Play ball, and whatever will come to you, you'll earn.
How much? But here's the other thing: how much has he demanded without sort of prior incident from the Cardinals leaking things about him being selfish and everything else? I feel
he's not. He's letting the agent do it, and that's smart.
Yes,
and the agent also is the agent for Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury's supposed to be, that's his football guy.
But this is sort of how it works with quarterbacks, with first-round quarterbacks, with first overall picks. You get to year 4, and you start to restructure that deal, and you start to talk about it. And he has done enough. He has done enough to get a contract worthy of one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Does he deserve $45 million a year? I think that's something that you have to talk about in the building, but that's what the market's probably demanding at this moment. $40 million a year, probably what the market wants for a guy like Kyler Murray. So it's about the Cardinals and what they want to do in their future, but all of the side stuff really has got to be frustrating if you're in Kyler Murray's camp.
Yeah,
and that's what leads to.
I wouldn't forget that if I were him.
And that's what leads you to letters like this, to demands, so to speak, air quotes for the demands. That's what leads to it.
But
when you get poked and prodded, you start to
will he
act
hold
different.
out?
I doubt it. Still has some things to prove.
Because then that crushes you in court of public opinion.
And they still have a team that I think can compete.
And did this year.
Until the back half of the year.
Yeah.
And J.J. Watt going out was a struggle. That was an issue. They still need D-line help. They still need D-line help. And, yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, really bad situation. Kyler Murray was not the same. Didn't have the target with DeAndre Hopkins out of the lineup. And Christian Kirk being your best guy at that point. Rondale Moore had a good start to the year. Finished the year not so much. And My opinion on it, I think Cliff Kingsbury has very gimmicky offense.
Very.
And I think eventually you see it on film enough, especially with some of these defensive coordinators in the NFL, they see it and they understand what's coming at them.
And he'll be the first one overboard, way ahead of Kyler Murray.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that completely. And he's done, and I think with all these conversations with Cliff Kingsbury, you do have to give him credit for what he did last year with Kyler Murray and what he did with that team. They were 11-6. They finally got to the playoffs.
Last team to remain undefeated before the first loss.
Yeah. So
which has been a tough thing the last 2 years.
I'll say that he's done way more than I thought he could. He's done substantially more than what I thought he could.
Much more than I thought he would do coming out of Texas Tech.
But that offense with him always sort of wears off. Defensively, I think he's got better defensive pieces than he ever had at Texas Tech. But can his offense continue to be on par? None.
No size either. Ole Miss, we opened against them in Houston.
How much of it?
I was stunned at how small their defensive players were.
How much of it for him in the Big 12 was just pace of the game? With his defense,
it was a lot of it. It was take it football.
He made it very uncomfortable for any defensive. That's why he rolled through them. His defensive coordinators couldn't find success.
Some of those rules have been rolled back. Now you have to let the defense. If you sub, you have to let them. I mean, you can't play at the pace that Browse was playing at, that Freeze was playing at first 2-3 years at Ole Miss, and Kingsbury was wanting to play.
Mm-hmm. Just seems like it'll be unceremonious for him when he ends his career there with the Cardinals. I just don't know do you think he'll ever reach back to what he had this year when they were the last undefeated team? I don't know if he'll ever get to that. I don't know if he'll ever get back to that.
Football Cardinals always seem to find trouble.
Yeah. Never stay on top for all that long. Now, with the Packers, the Devontae Adams situation continues to be weird. Do you think they're ever going to get a long-term deal done with him, or are we going to be sitting here?
Isn't that the key to getting Aaron Rodgers?
You would think, or go sign another. Well, I would say it'd have to be Devontae Adams. I was going to say you could sign another wide receiver.
All signs,
which would make
all
no
reporting
sense.
Indicate that Aaron Rodgers will be back. You're going to be right on that on New Year's predictions. You said stay. I said go.
I've been back and forth on that, though. It's been hard to be.
You've been mostly.
I've been mostly him
Packers
staying. But it has changed. I flip-flopped a few times on the way there.
Bo Marchant that we'll visit with tomorrow at 5, he's been rock steady that he's back. I've been the one saying he's gone.
Well, because the question always was, are they going to have the balls, basically, to trade him to anybody else in the NFL? Certainly you wouldn't trade him to anyone in the NFC.
No.
And then even in the AFC. That would be that's a tough sell for me to send off Aaron Rodgers to any other team in the NFL, because as soon as you put him on another team,
you got to move Jordan Love.
Immediate Super Bowl contenders, or at least championship, AFC or NFC championship contenders, as we've seen.
Imagine him in Pittsburgh.
That would be, with that defense, they'd be great. But even if they get Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams back, isn't it proven that, those guys are all they need, but they're all they need to fall short before the Super Bowl? That's what it's become.
We've done that.
That's what it's become. And that window's going to close quick, so they better get it done.
My man Bart Starr still hanging in there with 2 Super Bowls. Favre only one, and Aaron Rodgers only one.
We need to. I mean, I'm curious how much all of the off the field stuff. I know there's a bunch with Brett Favre off the field, retiring, coming back, and getting traded.
There was more than that too.
And yeah. I was going to keep that out of it.
Yeah.
But I wonder who Packers fans are going to remember more fondly when this is all said and done.
This is very anecdotal, but at Super Bowl 47 in New Orleans, just how it fell out, my seat was by a sharp young lady with a Green Bay TV station covering. They cover it all, at Titletown. And I asked her that question. I said, between the two, who she's nothing. She said, it's not even close. Who do you think? Favre. She said he was great. She said Aaron Rodgers.
Love Brett Favre.
She said Aaron Rodgers is very difficult to deal with.
Hold up though.
It's one person.
Let me say this though. You love Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I love Brett Favre too.
Yeah.
Oh.
That arm, that toughness.
The gunslinger.
No, I love what he did on the football field.
Big handful of pills in a Budweiser washing it down.
I love what he did on a football field, and I love what he did on draft night with the jorts and sort of swagging there with the picture. I understand that.
I like his line about being in Atlanta. He said, "I'm not mad at Jerry Glanville.
I
was drunk for 2 years."
Y'all forget about the state of Mississippi and the welfare checks he was receiving?
Right.
Well, when I say I love love a player, I'm usually talking about what he does on the field, not on the.
All right. I'm just checking.
I probably don't.
And what about the retirement and coming back?
Oh, I hated that at the time.
Yeah.
And of all things, went to the Jets first and then to the Vikings in the division and got them to an NFC championship game.
Brett Favre, one of my favorite quarterbacks to ever watch, because he did not care at all. Triple coverage, here comes the ball.
He was out of cares.
I don't care.
There's another word people say, but he was out of cares.
Yes. He's throwing the ball into triple, double, wherever he wanted to. I loved that, but he's never been my favorite guy as far as a personality is concerned.
One Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Win.
One Super Bowl. And I don't know if his former teammates talk all that great of him.
Probably not.
Fun-loving, colorful character, though.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and John Madden forever linked. John Madden loved him. I mean, he was forever linked with him. I mean, the answer to everything was Brett Favre.
Brett Favre on draft night.
From Kiln, Mississippi, Kiln.
Mm-hmm.
I have an update.
On?
I have found our Barking Crow guy.
Okay. What do we need to know about him?
We know his name is Stu.
Stu. Okay.
And I followed him on Twitter.
Do we have a last name?
I followed him on Twitter, so we have his Twitter account.
Okay.
Can you DM him?
Well, yeah, I can. We're going to get into contact with NIT Stu. Gabe, I just sent you a picture of NIT Stu standing in Times Square before the NIT, I'm guessing a couple years ago, with a sign that says, I love the NIT.
And look at the face on him. Look at the face on.
That's our guy.
For our people watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, you got it.
Stu, you're my hero.
We're going to have to talk to Stu. But for now, we're going to have to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll put a wrap on this Monday edition of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. There are a lot of ways to ruin your roof. Probably none worse than ice and snow. Google the term ice dam, and you'll understand that standing snow and ice can destroy your home's interior. Call me, 867-0303. Damaged ceilings or interior? It's time to call Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. We're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, so we've been vetted and trained by the best. You've known the name for years. Call me before you call your insurance company. We won't try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. We'll measure your roof from outer space. Call me, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is now currently hiring all positions. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, please apply today. Choate's is offering huge sign-on bonuses to seasoned technicians, plumbers, installers, and air duct cleaners. At Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, we offer a career, not just a job, by putting you in a paid training program to develop your technical and customer service skills to best serve our customers. Choate's offers top pay in the Mid-South, weekly pay, paid vacation and holidays, company matching retirement account, health, dental, vision, and life insurance, and Christmas, Thanksgiving, and birthday bonuses. If this sounds like an exciting opportunity for you, then we should talk. So call us at 347-8086 or apply online at choateshvac.com under the careers link. Come, join our family.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops March 3rd through the 6th and schedule your custom fitting on the new arrivals from Callaway. Featuring the new Rogue ST drivers with tungsten speed cartridge, jailbreak speed frame, and AI flash face engineered for max speed and forgiveness. 4 drivers to fit every golfer's needs. Think speed, go Rogue. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Folks are falling head over heels for these wheels and deals. Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales, and it's the season of love. I'm on a mission to help you meet your match. So if you've fallen out of love with your old ride or other dealers have left you brokenhearted, we've got a solution for every situation. Low monthly payments? No problem. Low down payments? You could drive for just a couple bucks down. Trade-ins? We're paying way more than it's worth. And you could even lower your monthly payment in the process. My For the People credit approval process hooks you up with the banks and lenders who want to approve you. It's time to fall in love, Memphis, when you drive a nicer, newer car for less. I'm Colin Johnston, and I'm your dealer. For the People. See all the wheels and deals at DeSotoAutosales.com. That's DeSotoAutosales.com. Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Vehicle purchase price determines actual trade allowance. For example, 2014 Ford Fusion 0 down, $264 per month payment at 5.5 APR for 72 months. Offer absolutely ends February 28th, 2022.
You already know that Sunrise on Jefferson serves up the freshest and fastest breakfast or lunch in the city with only the highest quality ingredients. But there's so much more to Sunrise. This is a place you can rush through to get something to eat. But it's also a place where, if you have the time, you can enjoy it leisurely in a great atmosphere. Sunrise is full of beautiful folk art and, more importantly, features one of the most impressive Bloody Mary bars you're ever going to see. If you have the time, there's nothing like taking it at Sunrise.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
What I learned today, Brett, is that we finally found our Barking Crow guy. NIT_Stu, STU, on Twitter. Thanks to Brian Dacus for finding him.
He wears
doing
the role,
research,
doesn't he?
Doing the research. And this first picture is just, I love the NIT. He's got a basketball tie on and a bucket hat. You got to love. But what I really did learn over the weekend, James Harden and the new look 76ers might be something, because they beat the Timberwolves 133-102. James Harden had 12 assists. Joel Embiid had his usual night, 34 points, and they look fantastic. And then against the Knicks, they look great. And James Harden had a triple-double. I like what they have going right now. The question becomes depth with them. But the 76ers, with James Harden, look good to start.
I learned over the weekend, not bad for the Ultimate Football League, 40,000 combined at Knoxville and Fayetteville. It's really good for the Ultimate Football League. No college basketball title for that league, though, since 2012 when Cal's Cats won it in New Orleans, and not won by anybody not named Kentucky in 15 years since Florida won it in 2007.
Well, you know, what I could have done without it has to do with the MLB lockout. Haven't heard anything. Not word one about if they've actually gotten to a deal or sat at the table and had a good conversation. But we'll see by the end of the day if they get that done. But Derek Jeter steps down today as the Marlins CEO and shareholder.
I know where he can always get a job. In the Bronx.
Oh, you think they're
Yankees
with the Yankees?
hire him anytime.
I would imagine. And he, with the Marlins in a decision-making spot, he was so bad. He was really bad, Brett.
Hard to make the Marlins work. Could have done without the Tigers' turnovers, but they still win big. Wichita State, they're going to be hiring a coach. If not this cycle, they will be next year. They don't have a coach.
Mm-hmm. What we're looking forward to tonight, some top 25 action in college basketball. Northwestern at Iowa, Baylor at Texas. That should be a fun one. Kansas State, who supposedly was on the bubble. I hope they're off by this point, but they're playing Texas Tech. And then UCLA at Washington.
How full tonight at FedEx Forum for the Grizzlies? How full? Percentage of capacity?
Gosh,
70?
I'd say 70's fair. Yeah. Anything higher on a Monday night,
you take it.
I don't think it's that fair to expect.
Just so strange that we can't draw for the Grizzlies on Monday night, but the ultimate sport in this town, Monday night wrestling at the Coliseum, was always 100% capacity.
Different time,
Gabe. That's it.
But we're also looking forward to Hornets Bucks tonight. Other than that,
NEC
Spurs
tournament.
Grizzlies. NEC.
Exactly, Gabe. What are you talking about?
Central Connecticut State.
Who we got?
Fairleigh Dickinson, favored by 4.5. Let's go with Fairleigh Dickinson.
What's Fairleigh Dickinson's nickname? Anybody got it? I don't.
I have no idea.
Go Fairleigh Dickinsons.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Michael Cole, David Cobb, and Shelby Mash for their contributions to the show. For Brett, for Brian, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.